It is 10 o'clock. Welcome in. This is Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5. Pat, Conrad, Molly, Landrum with you until 2 o'clock. Got a great show lined up for you today. We try to do that each and every day. Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, will join us at 10:45. David Shoemate from SEC Unfiltered. Man, he posted something on Twitter last night. It was just an outstanding question. We will get into that with him a little bit later about each school in the SEC's villain. Oh, it's a great look at what potentially the fan bases across the SEC, who they hate the most. So we'll get into that with him. Brett Norsworthy, the Southern gentleman from WHBQ Radio, a regular during the college football season with us. He will join us at 12 noon. We're going to talk about all sorts of things from college football playoff, SEC regular season expansion from 8 to 9 games, and Skip Holtz, the head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions. He'll be on this program at 1:30. If you have been listening to Jocks 94.5, you have heard that Mac and Cube, they were out at the Regions Tradition this morning, an all-star lineup of folks there playing in the Pro-Am. Nick Saban, he was there in attendance. He met with the media. Take a listen to this question he had about the Presidential Commission.
To be honest with you, I don't really know much about this commission. I don't really know what this commission would do. I think we know what needs to be done. I just think we've got to figure out who's got the will to do it. I learned one thing about coaching for all these years that, when you get into a subject like this that's very complex, it's probably good not to talk about it off the cuff. I'll find out more about it. And if there's something that I can do to, help college football be better, I'm always going to be committed to do that. To be honest with
you. So he really just didn't know much about it.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Coach, nobody knows a lot about this.
But
this was a commission that was just formed like a week ago.
Yeah, but I would think if anybody would kind of have an idea, it would be him.
Yeah, where do we start, Coach?
Yeah.
But would it surprise anybody to hear that Donald Trump had named him co-chair without ever discussing that with him?
No, that's what I said. I said
he just named him
co-chair. Would it surprise anyone that Donald Trump announced an NFL game yesterday in Saudi Arabia?
What's going on?
Yeah, just things we see on TV at times.
Stuff we see on the monitor.
Yeah, just very odd.
I don't know why it's always on that particular channel.
Yeah, I don't either.
I have no interest in watching anything on that channel.
Are they cooking something right now?
Well,
they're about to.
Not right now. At least at this day part, I don't have any interest in watching that. That's a lot of silliness.
Yeah. So that was one of the comments Nick Saban had this morning at the Regions Tradition. Here's another interesting one where he was point blank asked, is college football in trouble?
Not really. I mean, I think that there's always things that we could do to improve it. I know there's a lot of people out there that are concerned about the direction that we're headed in. But I also know there's a lot of good people out there that can do the type of things you need to do to get it moving in the right direction.
So that was Nick Saban this morning at the Regions Tradition. I understand he got in a little bit later than usual. He had an opportunity to meet with the media briefly before he got on the practice tee and went and played.
Did he have the typical escorts that he gets?
I don't know. I do not know.
I just like that we've heard from him. So college football is not really in trouble in his opinion, and he has no idea what this commission is or about from President Trump.
I mean, think about this. If like college football was a stock, and you know how a lot of times, whether it's the president or the Federal Reserve will make some type of reference, the stock market will react to it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that all of a sudden you hear Nick Saban say, I have no idea what this presidential commission's like, and then the college football stock would tank because everybody's like going, well, if Nick Saban doesn't know anything about this commission, then this commission has no hope. College football is doomed. And then the very next question, which was, hey, Coach Saban, do you think college football is in trouble? No, I don't think it's in trouble. I think we got a lot of smart people that can get it going in the right direction. Then that stock inches back up, goes the other way. So a roller coaster day if you're watching the college football stock market based on the comments of Nick Saban.
But don't we all agree that based on people we've talked to and things we witness with our own eyes every single day, that the current trajectory of college football, if those smart people don't start offering solutions or ideas, that it is in trouble?
I agree 100%. And This is a fact that a lot of people probably did not pay attention to, but last night, it was around 9:30, 10 o'clock our time, USA Today was reporting that lawyers for the plaintiffs in the House case, they have filed their briefs in regards to what Judge Claudia Wilken was wanting. The NCAA did theirs last week. Now, the objectors, there's still 3 objectors to the case. They're saying that they want more out of this in regards to the scholarships. They want more protections. And so basically, these 3 entities posted in their briefs to Claudia Wilken, the settlement remains unfair. A settlement like this one, which vests defendants with discretion to provide relief or not, is no settlement at all. Indeed, numerous objectors are hearing that schools have no intention of relaxing roster limits. So basically, they're calling everybody out saying, we're not budging. Like, you either give us this in regards to the scholarships, like right now, or we're not agreeing to any of this. So just when we think that everything is going to be hunky-dory with this House settlement, the objectors filed briefs over the last day or so, and USA Today reported last night that this thing is still in jeopardy.
I know people have offered, because we've asked them when they've come on the show, whether it's Mitt Winter, who's a NIL attorney, who's a former college athlete, or others, but nobody's fully answered the question of why is this such a sticking point for these schools? Ultimately, I just want to know, I know it's about money. How much money is this going to cost to your bottom line? How much money is this for, whether it's school X that plays in this group of 5 conference, or it's school Y that plays in a group of 4 conference, or a power 4 conference? What does this mean to your bottom line? How many dollars are we talking about per year to make this go away and to get this thing settled and move on? Good heavens.
Well, that was, I was listening to Paul's show yesterday, and I can't remember who the guest was, but it was essentially, yeah, everybody that got in the sports media world, we've joked about it, but you've gone from, all right, you essentially have to have a law degree now. You need to have a business degree. You need an MBA so you can kind of understand how the NIL world operates and all these different things that have absolutely nothing to do with the actual product on the field and what we all traditionally like to talk about and think about. And it's just gone a completely different direction these last couple of years. It's a whole different ballgame.
But Conrad, you don't need any of those things to shop players and to take 20% from their NIL deal that you help them secure.
That's true.
It's upside down. I digress.
So you don't like the agents that are trying to get kids to take the money now up front instead of focusing on their long-term future because the agent want that cut.
It's not even so much that. It's people have no business in these negotiations, and then they're duping a kid because the kid knows no better, and he doesn't have anyone advising him for 20%.
I wonder when we have the first, because now the general manager, right, that's the big position in college football. Everybody needs a general manager. Do you get to a point where you have a on-staff financial advisor? I'm sure some programs already have that.
Yeah, I think they already have business folks that come in, and this was way before NIL, that, you know, they tried to educate you on the future of you, whether you get to the NFL or you're going to play in the UFL or you're going to work at Dunkin' Donuts like Jamar Smith did for a short time. Like, you need to understand how to balance a checkbook.
Right.
And how to pay your bills.
But who is advising these student athletes during the exodus? When they're there and they've told everybody that they know at former school, hey, I'm cutting bait, I'm going to go and I'm going to make money somewhere else. Who's advising those kids at that point? Some do have great representation and legitimate folks that are representing them. A lot of them do not.
I was saying, we've also seen recently what happens when family gets mixed up in that and maybe doesn't have the best advice for you.
Well, supposedly the issue right now with the 3 objectors is that the NCAA is willing to phase in the cutbacks with the scholarships, but they did not give the guarantee that, like, what the objectors want is for a certain amount of time, you can't cut anybody. Like, so if you're looking at, we're going to drop, I'm just using this as an example, we're going to drop 5 to 7 scholarships in year 1, and ultimately we're going to get to 105. But let's say we drop 5 in the first year, the objectors want to be guaranteed that that so-called 5 that you want to get rid of, that they're going to be grandfathered in, and you really technically can't get rid of them.
Well, and that would be my thing. Why is it so difficult not to just say, all right, everybody that has they are on a roster right now, you are good, right?
What's the difference in what they did during COVID?
There's none.
It's a good point.
They gave
not.
everybody an
A bonus
additional
year.
year.
Yeah.
So just that's why
Some kids didn't want it. They're like, don't give it. I don't need that. No, everybody gets it.
I mean, just think of all the people that's been able to take advantage of the transfer portal based on that additional sixth year and make a little bit more money. I have not from the get-go understood the NCAA positioning. I guess this is Custer's last stand when it comes to them saying, we used to be an important organization and we're going to bow up, because the line of thinking and the way they have attacked this has been bizarre.
So the NIL guidelines can wait, but we have to cut these walk-ons right now.
Yeah.
Have to do it right now.
It's just
Their in-house
Why?
counsel, they were counting on filling up this week with this case. They need those billable hours.
yeah.
What was it 3 years ago? $53.5 million the NCAA spent on legal fees.
Yeah.
We got in the wrong business.
And the basketball tournament continues to absolutely generate billions of dollars for the NCAA. But they are hell-bent on these scholarships. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we have a long summer of heat and humidity ahead, so keep your home comfortable with Trane, America's most reliable HVAC brand. And to give you more peace of mind, Trane is offering up to 10-year warranties on parts and labor on select Trane home comfort systems. So to learn more about this offer and to find a specialist near you, visit Trane.com.
More three-man front on this Wednesday. We're in studio. We'll be joined by Brian Edwards coming up at 10:45. When we come back, we'll talk about Pete Rose. Could he be headed to the Hall of Fame? That's next. Three-man front. 10:16, Jocks 94.5 on this Wednesday. Hope everybody's had a good morning so far. We'll be with you until 2 o'clock here on Jocks 94.5. 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line. I'm looking over my shoulder of Landrum Roberts, and I see that we are already getting a bushel of text messages.
A bushel?
A bushel.
Yeah, I like that.
Kind of like a murder of crows.
A bushel, a bevy. A
Gaggle,
gander.
a gaggle,
a gaggle?
of geese. A gaggle of geese.
A gaggle.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, don't miss a Russell Marine Smith Lake Open House, May 19th through the 24th. You come check out the larger, new and improved showroom with an expanded lineup of boat brands, view boats from Sea Ray, Key West, Sportsman, Nautique, Godfrey Pontoon Boats, Creval, and more. Special pricing on all inventory, 20% off in the pro shop. Register to win great prizes at Russell Marine Smith Lake. You don't want to miss it. It's the Smith Lake Open House at Russell Marine, May 19th through the 24th. Get all the details at russellmarine.net on the events page, and you can follow them on Facebook.
7 years ago today, the United States Supreme Court invalidated the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act. It was the federal statute that had restricted regulated sports betting to primarily the state of Nevada since 1992. The Supreme Court threw it out, which meant every state in the union, if you felt the need and want, you could bet legally. We still can't in the state of Alabama, but so many other states across this great country of ours has taken advantage of the Supreme Court overruling that act. That was 7 years ago today. It's ironic that yesterday Major League Baseball decided enough was enough, and Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson and other deceased players for Major League Baseball's permanently ineligible list are now eligible for the Baseball Hall of Fame. The all-time hit king and Jackson, both longtime baseball pariahs because of gambling, is seen by Major League Baseball as the game's mortal sin. Like if you even, matter of fact, back in the day, I think it was Mickey Mantle and I believe Willie Mays, they were paid a stipend to be a greeter at a Las Vegas casino. And Major League Baseball came down hard on them and threatened to not allow them to be associated with the game. This was after they retired. So Major League Baseball has really had a very firm hold on that idea. But we all read a few months ago that Manfred had an opportunity to sit down with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump made his feelings known that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. And so Manfred ruled yesterday that Major League Baseball's punishment of banned individuals ends upon their deaths, which is kind of cruel in my opinion. So you make them go through their life, being punished like that. And then the moment that they no longer have breathed their last breath, then, oh yeah, you're good. Put you in the hall now.
So they can't have any enjoyment of their
Zero
career accomplishments.
Right.
Nope. So Manfred's decision ends the ban that Rose accepted from then Commissioner A. Bartlett Giamatti in August of 1989, following an MLB investigation that determined that Rose had bet on games while managing the Cincinnati Reds. He contends that he never bet against the Reds, that he bet only for the Reds to win. Now, Shoeless Joe Jackson and 7 other Chicago White Sox that we told you, Conrad, you need to watch the movie.
Yes.
It's a very, very good movie that details the surrounding situation with the Chicago White Sox scandal. And so back in 1921, Major League Baseball's first commissioner, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, he banned all of those players involved in the 1919 World Series. So based on the current rules for players who last played more than 15 years ago, it appears the earliest Pete Rose can go into the Hall of Fame would be in 2028. He has to go, his name, I should say, has to go in front of what they call the Classic Baseball Era Committee. It's made up of 16 individuals, and you have to have 12 votes of that committee to be able to be elected. Dave Parker this year, he is going into the Hall of Fame. He was voted on by that committee. He was not voted on by the whole board of the Baseball Writers Association of America that controls the voting of the Hall of Fame. I'm just curious if Major League Baseball, because they did it for Roberto Clemente. Roberto Clemente was an active player, and he tragically died in a plane crash. And Major League Baseball waived the 5-year waiting period. and Roberto Clemente was put in the Hall of Fame the very next year after his death. So we will see what happens. But Rose, lifetime batting average of 303, Major League Baseball's career leader in hits, 4,256. Played the most games, 3,562. Had the most at bats, over 14,000. Led Major League Baseball in singles. He won the World Series 3 times, twice with the Reds, once with the Philadelphia Phillies. His teammate with the Philadelphia Phillies, Michael Jack Schmidt, a Hall of Famer in his own right, said this yesterday afternoon on the Major League Baseball about his former teammate, Pete Rose.
Unanimous Hall of Fame on the field career. Everybody knows that. You know, it's one of what I get asked all the time. It was the toughest pitcher I ever faced, and I also get asked everywhere I go, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Well, the latter question will have its answer in a couple of years.
Even some teammates from the Reds days, like Johnny Bench, who was critical at times of Pete Rose, and nobody questioned what Pete Rose did between the white lines. No one did. And so it will be interesting now to see how this works out. Now, we'll play one more clip for you. This is from Joel Sherman. He has covered Major League Baseball for the New York newspapers, multiple newspapers in the city of New York. He's also a regular on the Major League Baseball Network. Take a listen to his take on the potential of Pete Rose getting into the Hall of Fame and why he might have to hit pause on what he thinks would happen to Pete Rose.
I think people will, human nature, decide, you know what the easiest thing is, to just vote this guy into the Hall of Fame. I think it should be a tougher standard than that. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know what I would do. I have to think about it more, even after all these years. But I think it's just going to be a rubber stamp. And I think he's going to get into the Hall of Fame easy.
So that's his thought. He thinks the committee will give a rubber stamp and that he will be on to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. What do you think about all of this that has transpired over the last 24 hours?
I agree with you. The Hall of Fame it's recognizing the best that have ever played the game. We're not picking elders and deacons for a church. And I just assume that every human being that is in that Hall of Fame was not perfect in their life. We've only had one of those in the history of this world. So I don't have a problem with it. If you want to add a wing, Pat and Conrad and Molly, add a wing that said, hey, these are great baseball players who happen to be great humanitarians as well. These are great human beings. Add it. But Pete Rose should be in there. And I'm so tired of this debate. We've been going through it. We went through it for 35 years since it happened. And to watch that guy, miserable existence towards the end of his life. And that was the one thing I think that he woke up for every day.
Well, and I just look at it for any other thing in history. You go to any sort of museum or any, essentially these time capsules from back in history. There's a lot of bad stuff in all of those, right? Any part of American history, any country's history, and that stuff's in there, right?
Ty Cobb was a huge racist.
That was another point I was going to bring up.
Despicable human being.
Ty Cobb is probably one of the worst human beings that's ever walked the face of the earth.
No, it's Ty Cobb. Yay!
And he was a great baseball player. So does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
He does. Just like Pete Rose does, just like Barry Bonds does, in my opinion. You don't have to think these guys are great people. Like you said, you're not asking them to lead your church, but they are a huge part of the history of the game of baseball, and they deserve a spot in there. And if you want to put a big old asterisk on their plaque,
you don't have to. The same people that go to Cooperstown, I want to go one day. But Pat, when you go to Ty Cobb's plaque, you can have those conversations. Great hitter. Man, this guy was a heck of a player.
But there's nothing on his plaque that details all the things that he did, the pejoratives that he used, the things that he did to people in the stands. There was reports that he grabbed a guy out of the stands, threw him down on the ground, and he took his spikes and almost killed the guy. In regards to stomping on him, the stories that he did to bellhops, that was not the same color as Ty Cobb when he would go to certain cities around Major League Baseball. I mean, it's been very well documented that Ty Cobb is most definitely not someone that you would want to probably be a deacon at your church. But that goes without saying. He was one of the best baseball players to ever play the game of baseball.
And that's a conversation you can have as you're looking at his shrine, looking at his plaque there at Cooperstown. You can have with your group when you're touring and saying, yes, for all that he did, let's remember this guy was not a good human being.
No, for every Roberto Clemente out there that was a fantastic player as well as a fantastic human being from everything that we know about them, there's 10 other guys in that Hall of Fame that were great players and probably not the best human beings.
Well, here's one of the better quotes that I've seen this morning, and it comes from Dan Wetzel from ESPN. He wrote the following: "History is history. The game is the game. The museum is the museum. Tell the story, the whole story. with all the best players and the best teams and the best tales, no matter how colorful, criminal, or regrettable. That's what you should do. Like you mentioned, in a museum, there are things that's happened in this country's history that none of us are proud of, but that is the fabric of our country. That is what has happened, and that is what has developed us to the point to where we are today. Baseball tells a story, and if you want to put an asterisk on its plaque, so be it. That's what they should have done years ago, but to hide the fact that Pete Rose was one of the greatest hitters ever to walk the face of the earth, it is a shame that Rob Manfred and the rest of the commissioners have handled this the way they have over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was watching MLB Network last night, and that's when Joel Sherman was on, and they had Harold Reynolds on there, and he was talking about growing up around the Reds clubhouse, and he described Pete Rose as he was the perfect imperfect human being, right? He was not everybody's cup of tea, but the people that he was close to, he had very fond memories of him, and growing up around the Reds clubhouse. But he wasn't a perfect human being. But when it came to the game of baseball, there are very few players that have ever played the game better than Pete Rose did, and that's kind of the point of the Hall of Fame.
Well, our Twitter poll question of the day today, Molly, and it's pretty overwhelming what our listeners of Three Man Front feel about this subject.
Yeah, simple. Do you think Rose should be inducted to Cooperstown? Yes, long overdue, or no, he bet on baseball. And with over 200 votes, yes is winning with 92%. Speaks for itself.
Yeah, sure does. So we'd love to hear from you on the text line. Phone calls welcome at 1-800-239-WJOX. We will talk to Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider coming up at 10:45. He's going to have some plays potentially on the NBA and some other items that's going on, including some win totals that came out this morning in the college football world. More Three Man Front. Would love to hear from you on this Wednesday. This is Jocks 94.5. Welcome back. It's three-man front on this Wednesday. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you. Really appreciate everybody showing up yesterday at Social Taco. I've had so many people reach out to me talking about, man, I haven't had a chance to get up there, and it just sounds like you guys have a great time. Well, we do. Hopefully, we're able to express that enough on the air. But it was a great crowd yesterday, great food, great listeners. It was just a fun time. So hopefully you can make plans to join us next Tuesday from 10 until 2.
Well, another one of our favorite places is Big Whiskey's because they are the place for great food of all varieties with a full menu ranging from apps, salads, burgers to steaks. Their bar features unique cocktails, over 120 whiskeys, including whiskey on tap, and plenty of screens to catch all the games, whether you're watching the NBA playoffs, the NHL, some Major League Baseball, or even with the SEC baseball tournament coming up. It's the perfect place to go get lunch. So go check them out in the Stadium Trace Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
Jock's text line is open, 205-834-9450. A lot of people weighing in on Pete Rose and should he be inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And first we lead off with Jody, listening there in Oklahoma on the Jocks 94.5 app. Thanks, Jody. Jody texts, there should be a difference between a baseball museum and Hall of Fame. Let the willful cheaters, bettors, and racists go to the museum to learn about the fabric of America, and the Hall of Fame be where players worthy of being celebrated are honored. Appreciate you listening, Jody. This one rolls in. Pete Rose signed off to a lifetime ban. His life is now over. First part of that, did he sign off on a lifetime ban?
He did. He had to come to an agreement with Giamatti.
Some people will argue. Brandon, Pete Rose family should tell Major League Baseball no thanks. This one coming from the state of Mississippi. I know a lot of people say no way, but to me, it almost seems like ESPN might be trying to get Coach Nick Saban to distance himself from President Donald Trump.
Wait, he's saying what now? That he should?
That ESPN, he said it seems like, or they said it seems like ESPN is trying to get Nick Saban to distance himself from Donald Trump.
Insinuating that's why he had the comment of, I don't even know what this commission is really.
No, I don't think that's an ESPN thing. I don't think ESPN's going to tell. I don't know. Maybe they will.
I have a feeling he will conduct relationships and conversations with whoever he wants to.
Yeah, I think last time I checked, he's a grown man.
Yeah.
He can do that.
I will tell you that based on me working at ESPN and based on the way ESPN was over the course of the last few years, I can tell you that is a completely different mindset now than it was a few years ago. I doubt that somebody is telling Nick Saban to distance himself from Donald Trump. If this was 2021 or 2022, probably not now.
This text reads, do the players need the schools more or the schools need the players more? As long as money is up for grabs, there will never be an agreement. I think they are mutually dependent on one another.
Absolutely. And I'm going to use an old NCAA term from many, many years ago when Alabama almost got the death penalty. Both sides are looking down the barrel of a gun. They need to come to a resolution and move forward. This game of chicken that the NCAA has been playing is not going to win.
I think you could argue that maybe the players at the top, right, the elite talent, maybe you could argue the schools need them a little more. But I think for the majority of college athletes, you could probably make the argument they need the schools more than the schools need them.
Gavin texts in and says the biggest disgrace in baseball is the fact that Pete Rose and Barry Bonds are not in the Hall of Fame.
Hard to tell the story of baseball without them.
Zach texts in and says, hey guys, headed my first Barons game at Regions Field today. Also, Pete Rose does belong in the Hall of Fame. Have fun, Zach.
Absolutely. I think school day today, right? At Regions Field?
Yeah, they have a first
o'clock?
pitch in, about 25 minutes.
Yep, 11 o'clock.
Tell Nelly we said hello.
And if you've never been to Regions before, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a better minor league facility in the entire
fantastic.
country. It is
It's wonderful.
top-notch.
Day baseball. Oh, it sounds so good.
I know it's a little overcast today, but it feels like it's in the 70s. I mean, it's perfect weather.
If we only hosted a tournament here in Metro Birmingham where we got day baseball. Oh, wait. That's next week.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Landry.
I know. BB here. Hey, BB. Having lived in Cincy in the 70s and 80s, I can attest to Pete Rose's love for baseball and for the city. He was a hometown boy, loved by the fans and community. Yeah, he was a narcissist, but his accomplishments far outweighed his bad boy moves. He was forced into that band.
Well, not to defend what he did, but do you not think it was probably a major eye roll from him at the end of his career turning on ESPN to watch a Major League Baseball game? And at the bottom line, you have betting odds for every single game, every single night, scrolling around the ticker while you're watching baseball? Yeah, that probably wouldn't sit very well with me.
And I was telling Conrad this earlier. The biggest thing over the last few years is that the majority of the people that vote for the Baseball Hall of Fame are probably in their mid-60s, if not older. And a lot of those guys covered Pete Rose towards the end of his career and even when he was a manager for the Reds. And he could be cantankerous. And if you were covering him on a daily basis, I think a lot of people would probably be like, screw him. I mean, I'm not giving him benefit of the doubt. I'm never going to vote for him. Period. And listen, the same thing can be said about Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was a complete what.
I think A-Rod probably fits into that category a little bit too.
But once again, you have to separate the self from the personality of the individual and take a look at the hardcore numbers. And we're such an analytic society now with everything, especially when it comes to baseball. Just look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. So maybe some of these old writers just are holding a grudge for many years ago, and they're trying to prop people up that have no business being propped up.
Gavin texts into the show. Chop on, Landrum. New season starts tonight. That's right. Braves big win. Oh, there it is. Braves get to win last night over the Nats 5-2. We are officially at 500. It feels good. Joining my show brethren and sister in the run. All of your teams have been 500. That's why I wore my Brave shirt today. This might be the only time we're at 500 again. It's been a long time.
Still got 140 games left to go.
Woo!
120.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Acuna went deep yesterday in the FCL.
I did. I saw that his first at bat in his rehab start.
That's good.
Certainly a good sign.
Yep. We got
Things
sharp
are
money.
Looking up.
Sharp money coming in. Brian Edwards, where is he going with the NBA and elsewhere? He joins us next, our Vegas Insider. Three-man front, Jocks 94.5.
Oh, so much to get into with Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Brian, I hope you've had a good week, man. So much happening. We've got NFL futures. We've got win totals that just came out this morning for some SEC teams. We've got NBA playoffs. You have been hot as fire. I think you, at a 58% clip? Did I see that right in your NBA picks? Is that right?
Yeah, hopefully it moves to 59. Went 2-0 last night with the Nuggets and Pacers. No money line on either.
Yeah, I saw that you were kicking yourself about no money line on one of those games because you could have made some nice Conrad Van Order money.
Yeah, not on the Nuggets because they fell apart in the fourth quarter because they have no depth. But yeah, Pacers would have been nice. But I did have plus 400 for the series, and I forget if we talked about that on the show. I'm sure we did. If game one happened, took place or if game one was past Wednesday and the previous series had ended before Wednesday, if that makes sense, then we probably discuss it. But I don't remember what day of the week it fell on.
No problem at all. Well, let's start with some college football win totals. I know Circus Sports came out with some stuff this morning. Just hit on anything that you feel that our listeners would enjoy discussing in regards to Alabama and Auburn.
So Circa has Bama at 9.5. The under price is minus 120. The over is even money. Auburn is 8, and the over is a minus 125 price. The under plus 105. But FanDuel's got different numbers. Bama is also 9.5 at FanDuel, but if you like the over, you can get plus 110 payout rather than even money. And Auburn is actually 7.5 at FanDuel, but very expensive on the over, minus 180. Risk 180 to win 100 on the over. But if you like under 7.5, it's plus 140. Risk 100 to win 140. I haven't really broken down their schedules, but on the podcast for Southeastern 16 last week, did the Gators, and I've decided, as much as I am not confident in Billy Napier, I am liking over 6.5, although the price is minus 150 at DraftKings, which, is a little expensive. I'd actually rather have over 7 at like even money or I don't know if I would get a small plus on that, but I like over 6.5 for Florida. I looked at the first 2 home games, LIU and USF. I think those are W's. Out of at LSU in week 3 and at Miami week 4, I'm thinking Florida gets a split in those. And then Texas at home and at Texas A&M, I'm also thinking a split. So that would leave them at 4-2 with Mississippi State at home to go to 5-2. Open day before Georgia. I think that's a toss-up game. Then at Kentucky, I think that's a 6th win for Florida. At Ole Miss and Tennessee at home could be the 7th. FSU at home, I think would be the 8th, and that still leaves, the Georgia game that's a potential win. So, I'm liking over 6.5 for Florida. Obviously, hoping DJ Lagway stays healthy because that's, a lot of what the pick's based on and the late season momentum from last year.
Brian, when these win totals come in every year from Vegas and we talk about it, but it seems like there are 5 or 6, I'm not just saying in the SEC, but across college football that you look at, you got a good idea of what their roster is at the time, and you say, man, that's just a miss by Vegas, and a lot of people, they're able to capitalize on that. Has the transfer portal and the volatility of the rosters just kind of being in flux, is that made it more difficult for Vegas in setting these totals, or do you think it's made it easier?
It's probably made it more difficult for the odds makers, and if you're doing your homework, potentially easier for the bettors. The thing with me is I like to have my magazines before don't get me wrong. I was doing a podcast on Florida. That's my team, and did a bunch of research on it. But I like to get my magazines before I'm, firing away on all these win totals. So. June 3rd, I believe it's Lindy's. It's going to be later for Phil Steele. I've tried to look up Athlon, and just Googling the release date doesn't give me any information. So I don't know about Athlon. When I walk through Publix, I'm making sure I'm going past the mag rack, but I've yet to see anything yet.
All right. So we will continue to investigate the win totals as they continue to cycle out through different books and, of course, FanDuel or DraftKings. So let's talk about the NBA playoffs. So the rest of the way, I know you just kind of mentioned what you were talking to us about last week, but upcoming the next couple of nights or even the Eastern or Western Conference winner, what are you thinking now? Has anything changed in your philosophy?
So I took like the in-pocket plays, if you will, that I have. Oh, man, I was feeling good about that Nuggets 35-1 to win it all when they had that fourth quarter lead. But, again, my depth is and OKC took over in the fourth quarter, so that's not looking very good, the 35-1. I do have the T-Wolves at 17-1, and I have the Pacers at 15-1, and I did the Pacers to win the East at 3-1. I think that was going into game 4 of the Cleveland series. I believe that's when I took that. So that's where I'm at right now. In terms of what I've bet, in terms of, as I'm pulling up the updated futures right now, let's see. So to win the finals right now, we've got OKC minus 140 at FanDuel, Knicks plus 490, T-Wolves 6-1, Pacers 7-1, Boston 26-1, and Nuggets 29-1. As for these games here the next couple of nights, I really don't like tonight, but I think I'll probably live bet it. Like last night when Cleveland got off to that great start, but you saw Garland was missing shots and his ankle didn't look right, and Mitchell had missed the second half the other night. I took Pacers plus 18 live. I think they were down by 19 when I did that, and I also took them plus 14.5. They come back and went outright. So, as always, I'm looking for, a line on the live line that, maybe is like 8 or 9 points different from the original line. But, I mean, look, Minnesota looks like to play tonight, but I don't want to lay double digits. And who knows how Boston's going to react. Maybe they come out guns blazing, irritated at themselves. They've blown at least a 14-point lead and twice 20-point leads or more. So maybe they come out like gangbusters tonight. Maybe the Knicks are lazy and, let down from reading their press clippings. Or maybe Boston is just dead psychologically from losing Tatum. So I just don't like tonight's game.
Visiting with Brian Edwards, our Vegas insider, here on Three Man Front. All of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. We have the official NFL schedule released tonight. The last couple of days, they've been giving us some little crumbs to keep us occupied. The NFL is really good at that. We got international games, a nice slate of international games, some early lines already coming out from Vegas that I know that you have your eye on, Brian.
Yeah, so we've got Philadelphia in the Thursday opener. They are -7 to the Cowgirls. Are either of you guys Cow?
That would be no.
That would be no.
So you can use
and
that.
you can say
Okay,
Cowgirls
so
all
I
you
can call
want.
them.
Yes.
All right, so I'll call them the Cowgirls from now on. Now that I know that. Okay, so then we've got KC is -1.5 in the Super Bowl rematch to Philly, which is week 2. And then I'm not looking at the venues for some of these international games. September 28th, we've got Minnesota -2.5 to Pittsburgh. I don't know why Minnesota's playing 2 international games.
Yeah, back to back, Dublin and then over in London.
Yeah, they're -7 to Cleveland the following week. And my Falcons, I believe this one's in Berlin, are -1.5 to the Colts. Commanders and Dolphins, I believe, is in Madrid. Commanders are -2.5. The Chiefs and Cowgirls play each other. I believe that's Thanksgiving Day. The Chiefs are -4.5. And then also, or maybe it's a different date, November 28th. Maybe it's the Friday of Thanksgiving week. We've got Philly is -6.5 at home to the Bears. And then on Christmas Day, I believe it's a 4:30 Fox kick, if I'm not mistaken. We've got KC -4.5 to the Broncos.
Wow, that is some good stuff. As the rest of the schedule will be released later tonight. So in regards to, I want to circle back to what you were talking about with Florida's win total, because I know you have already done a deep dive on that. So you feel pretty confident that this could be a year that Lagway and Napier turns this thing around. Again, it was a surprise season last year, but you really feel that these numbers would represent really a trend going in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the schedule, a lot of those opponents are breaking in new quarterbacks. Miami, new quarterback. Carson Beck coming off an injury. I mean, I know Arch has played, but, Texas, I guess, technically a new starting quarterback. A&M, a new quarterback. Georgia, new quarterback. Ole Miss, a new quarterback, although I think Austin Simmons will be really good, and he was a former verbal commit to Florida. Tennessee, new quarterback. FSU, new quarterback. So, a lot of Florida's opponents have new QBs. Florida's got Lagway, who's got tons of experience last year, and went 6-1 in 7 games as a starter. And the only loss, Florida was up by a touchdown to Georgia when he left the game in the second quarter with an injury. So, he has shown he's a good leader. He's got, his stats weren't all that. The TDI-INT ratio, I believe, was 12-9, which is not that impressive. He threw 2 very head-scratching interceptions against what was basically Tulane's JV team in the bowl game. But he makes plays when it matters. And, he saved Napier's job, leading him to those wins against LSU and Ole Miss, and then, also FSU and Tulane. So, Lagway, the quarterback, is the key to the bet for sure.
Don't forget now, Florida State, they do have a new offensive coordinator, and it's Gus Malzahn. If there's 2 games that he already has ready, scripted and ready to go.
Really? I did not see that story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that is very true.
He has got 2 games ready to go. He's got Alabama in the opener, and then he has got the Florida game already scripted.
The Gus bus is taking its act to tally, we're still getting Chip Kelly ideas, leaving UCLA for Ohio State and winning a natty. That's not going to happen in tally.
Okay. I know that you are really busy towards the back end of our show, but every day I pose 5 questions to our group. And it's called Pat Ponders. And one of the questions that I asked last week was, give me your top 4 head football coaches in college football in the state of Florida. Who you got? 1 through 4. How would you rank them?
Wow.
Pretty good, huh?
Oh, man. Oh, Scott Frost won. No, I'm kidding. Gosh, I mean,
you made Molly. Molly started crying in the other room because
Scott Frost, though, could be in your top 4.
Oh, yeah, of course he could. I think it's just a push across the board.
Yeah.
I'm not really giving.
Bad. It's an unfair question.
Okay, give me 4. Give me your top 4. Give me who's number 1.
1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. Napier and Norvell and Mario are like just a complete push.
Okay, then all right. So who would be the 4th one? Would it be Frost, or would it be
Alex Golish,
or be the Russian over in Tampa?
The Russian over in Tampa.
They're all a push. I can't call one of them number 1.
Okay.
They're all bad.
You want to go FCS?
I think Jacksonville's got a pretty good coach.
Who's the coach over there at North Florida and Jackson, West Florida, and Pensacola? I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Hey, have a great week, Brian. Yeah, please do. I need some odds on that. All right. We'll talk to you next week, Brian. Thanks, man.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a good one.
See ya. That's Brian Edwards joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Dave Shoemate, SEC Unfiltered, is next. We begin hour number 2 on this Wednesday. This is Jocks 94.5's three-man front. Appreciate everybody listening in Huntsville on the UMP, down in Montgomery, capital city, this great state of Alabama, on Jocks 740. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. I saw this on social media last night, and I was like, man, this is a fantastic subject. And we got to get Dave Shoemate on from SEC Unfiltered because he tweeted this out. It is every SEC team's villain over the last 25 years. And joining us now is Dave Shoemate. Dave, I hope you're doing well, man. What a great topic this time of the year, man. We welcome this kind of stuff.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I appreciate y'all having me on again. It's always an honor to come on the show. But yeah, me and Conrad were talking off the air a little bit. It's that time you can kind of get the creative juices. As dumb as the list are, you can debate these type of things till the end of the time, till the season, really till SEC Media Day. So I thought there's no better time. Again, some of them I did a little bit more humorously than some other were serious. But no, I think it's a good list just to go over, have some fun in May.
All right, so let's start with the big ones that we cover on a daily basis. We cover the whole Southeastern Conference, but obviously being in Birmingham, we concentrate on Alabama and Auburn. So let's start with the Auburn Tigers. Give us your rationale and tell the audience who you believe over the last 25 years is Auburn University's biggest villain.
I'm excited to hear y'all's take on this one too, because I kept going back and forth. For Auburn to me was a hard one. Because again, I went with Nick Saban for anybody who hadn't seen it, but I mean Saban could be on about half these teams list if you want to be completely honest. I think y'all would agree with that. But Auburn was a little bit like, who has kind of done Auburn wrong, or who would they feel slighted against? I mean, again, they weren't slighted here. It's more Tommy Tuberville with the Jet Gate, 2002, 2003 with Petrino, them sneaking off into the middle of the night. So that really didn't affect him. I mean, Brian Harson's one people in the comments have argued, which I think there's a fair argument to that, but we're talking about 25 years compared to he was there for 2 years. So a little bit of that. Auburn was a more difficult one. I mean, I even thought a little bit, even got into more recent times because I was really thinking about it last night. I was like, Auburn. I was even texting some buddies in a group message, and even some Auburn people were like, yeah, I mean, we've had as much success as anybody against Saban, but it kind of had to be Saban. We've had 5 coaches since then. I mean, you can even maybe go, this is wild to say just because it's so new, but Nate Oates maybe? I don't know, Aiden Holloway. I mean, as random as that sounds, but I'd love to hear who y'all think.
I think the answer other than Nick Saban is Harvey Updike. And I'm not kidding because I think that hurt Auburn fans more. Because they did have some wins versus Nick Saban, and Nick Saban was beating everybody else. So I think Auburn fans kind of came to grips with it. But the killing of the trees, I think that would be Harvey Updike, who Pat knew very, very well.
Now hold on. Hold on.
Well, okay, it sounded bad. It's not like Pat was there buying the supplies.
The
guy came on his show, and that's how the whole Updike
he came on the
era
show
began.
And then I saw him a couple of times when he was on the lam from the law. They were trying to hunt for him. So, yeah. But I was not friends with him.
My college roommate ended up being his attorney.
That is crazy.
Small
world.
And then the judge told him you had to keep him as a client.
All right. So those are all great options, Dave, to be honest with you. And so you had Nick Saban being Auburn's biggest villain over the last 25 years. So let's go to the other side of the state and let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide. Who was the Tide's biggest villain over the last 25 years, according to you?
Yeah, I went Philip Fulmer. So Fulmer going back to the whole Albert Means 2000 signing class.
Another one of my good friends, Philip Fulmer.
Yeah, tell him that story, Pat, real quick.
Oh, just about him calling me a bitch on the sideline at the SEC championship game. And yeah, that's fine. Fat Phil. That's good to hear.
What's the context to that?
Just the fact that we got him banned from coming to SEC Media Days because he was worried about getting a subpoena by Tommy Gallion. And so he did the whole SEC Media Days on a speakerphone. So like
on the video I did on our channel on SEC, I brought that up on SEC Unfiltered. I brought that up and discussed it. He did it. He got fined, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had to sit and did it from his office. You're right. And then they came to Tuscaloosa that year.
Yep.
It was his first time back, wasn't it? In 05. Yeah. I think Fulmer just with all that. I mean, another one. I saw some other people. Who else were people bringing up for Alabama? Somebody brought up Clemson.
Dabo or just Clemson in general?
Dabo and they just said Clemson just for those two, just kind of playing so many times in the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, let's ask our resident Alabama graduate. None of us on the show graduated from the University of Alabama for the exception of Conrad. Conrad, in the last 25 years, who would you consider Alabama's biggest villain?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Philip Fulmer is the right answer. I think you would have some people now, and jokingly, that would probably say like Jalen Milrow.
Does it have to be? Does it have to be a human being, or could it be
an entity?
No,
the NIL era?
I did for Ole Miss. I did the SEC Western Division, so it doesn't have to be.
That's
good,
true.
yeah.
That's true. I agree with you, Dave. For those younger listeners to the show, the venom that was between Tennessee and Alabama, that was real. And I know you know that. And so I think that was an outstanding choice that you made.
Yeah.
The villain, that was Philip Fulmer. I got to tell you, man, I laughed gregoriously when I saw the Arkansas.
So good.
This was so good, Dave. Tell the audience, in the last 25 years, who was the biggest villain in Arkansas?
Yeah. Yeah, for the people that Jessica Durrell. So I was in college in Alabama at the time. I mean, we all know. I mean, Arkansas was rolling. I mean, 2010 a Sugar Bowl, 2011.
That was the domino, Dave. You're right. That after that happened, and then he comes out with the stupid neck brace, and he had a so-called air quotes motorcycle accident, and because of her, Arkansas football has not been the same since.
I mean, he got fired. John L. Smith took over for that disastrous 2012 year. I mean, they were preseason top 10. I mean, they had a lot of people back, and it just went down the drain there. For people to know, Jessica Durrell, she's a former volleyball player. I think she was in fundraising, and Bobby P. hired her. I think created a role on staff. I think a player development role, and obviously that. I think her husband too. Not going to pro was like the strength and conditioning coach, and so it was like a Desperate Housewives episode.
Well, he was keeping it in the family, Dave. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, you're right. Keeping it within the athletics department from that perspective. I mean, so most Arkansas fans laugh and agree. I mean, you see some of them say Chad Morris, who never won an SEC game, but somebody did bring up, they're like, well, Durrell set that up before Chad be able to come in, so she'd get the nod. And then some people put the drop foul ball in the 2018 College World Series in Omaha, where they lost
to Oregon State.
Yeah, and then Oregon State beat them the next game.
If we had where are they now? Does anybody know what Jessica Durrell is doing right now?
Dude, when I was Googling it, it said the marriage is that her and her husband are together. I didn't go down that rabbit hole, but that was the first article that came up when I was just
so you say they are still together
and stuff, right? They are still together.
Oh, great.
I don't know. I don't think she works in Fayetteville, but
it's probably a wise move now that Bobby's back.
I was reading an old story from 2018, and they were documenting everything, and said that he was Bobby Petrino admitting to giving her gifts of candy to $20,000 cash, but
that's a big win.
Maintained that they were just friends.
And just think now with Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, this is no big deal now.
No,
that would have been nothing in the state of Arkansas.
That's right. She was engaged at the time, right?
I think she was married.
Yeah, maybe she was engaged. Yeah, it was something. She was either engaged or recently married. All right.
She had a promise ring. I don't know.
Had a promise ring.
All right, so let's talk.
But did y'all know they were rolling then? I mean, they had everything.
Yes.
Y'all remember that year in 2011? The top 3 teams in the country going into the last week were all from the SEC West.
Yeah. Was that the Mallet era?
And Tyler Wilson. Yeah, it was the Mallet, Tyler Wilson, Niall Davis group of guys.
No, they had it going on.
All right, so you've already kind of let the cat out of the bag about Ole Miss. You said SEC West champions. That has been the biggest villain for that program, and there's no question about that.
Yeah, I mean, the only team outside of Texas A&M, and as we know, they were in the league started in 2012. So Ole Miss had 10 more years to had a head start to get to Atlanta. So they were the only team who's never won the SEC Western Division when we had divisions. And I was thinking for Ole Miss, who else? Because again, I'm from Mississippi originally on the coast, the Biloxi Ocean Springs area, so I know a bunch of Ole Miss people, so I mess with them about that. But I was trying to think, who would it be? Dan Mullen maybe? But even Hugh Freeze had some success against him. Then I was trying to think all the way back, Tommy Tuberville maybe, but even that was 98. That would have exceeded my time frame.
Yeah, that's true. Just looking on the list, and of course, you can follow Dave on Twitter at Dave Shoemate SEC. Or you can follow SEC Unfiltered at SEC Unfiltered. And this is the every SEC team's villain over the last 25 years. Just going down the list here. And it's interesting that tell the audience who you put as Tennessee's biggest villain over the last 25 years and explain.
Yeah, they didn't really like that one. And some of that was humor. So you could definitely put Lane Kiffin. But I went with Greg Schiano. I mean, that was as y'all remember that, 2018, he had Clay Travis firing up the band. They get the AD fired off of that. They're painting all that stuff over the rocks. in Knoxville. They're bringing up all the stuff back from the Sandusky stuff when Shiano was just a GA there. But yeah, I mean, they revolted it. I mean, it made the Mark Stoops, the Texas A&M thing, look like complete child's play. But no, I mean, I could totally see where someone would argue Lane Kiffin's definitely the guy when he left to go USC as well. But I went with Greg Schiano for a little bit of comedic purposes.
You went with for Texas A&M, you went Jim Schlossnagle, and that one really hurt them when Texas went and stole him after that run last year, and we see what Texas is doing now. I was thinking that's a really good one. If you were going to go to a B pick on that, just for fun, you would go Greg Sankey and the 13 other member institution presidents that voted to allow Texas into the league.
Oh, for sure. No, you're 100%. Because wasn't it Ross Bjork, who was the AD then? It was there then, now at Ohio State. You could even tell. I mean, he straight up would go out in the media and say, "Yeah, we're not for them coming in the league." And Sankey'd be like, "We don't really care what your thoughts are on it." But no, you're right. I mean, yeah, that would be a second one for A&M. I mean, obviously, just you playing in a national, you're one win away from winning a national championship, and then the next day your head coach is going to Austin, your biggest rival. I mean, that's tough to beat. I know it's very new and fresh, but again, I mean, even outside of what you said, I think that's the second one after that. I mean, somebody commented and said Jimbo Fisher, but I'm like, I don't really. I mean, it wasn't a great ending, but I don't think it was some villain type thing with Jimbo.
All right, Georgia Bulldogs. Biggest villain for them. I think our listening audience would agree with this. Who did you peg as their biggest villain?
I mean, Alabama's got to be Alabama, right? What, 2 wins since 2007? In 2007, the overtime game, Saban's first year, and then obviously the national championship in 21. You've only beaten them twice. Yeah, I mean, I think it was a no-brainer. Alabama, and I mean, you could have put Nick Saban for that as well, but with DeBoer getting the win last year, I think I just went with the overall Alabama brand in general.
Mississippi State, and I can't really argue with that one. Cam Newton comes in for you as their biggest villain.
Yeah, Cam Newton. Yeah, we all remember that, the crazy story with John Bond and them coming in and saying they reportedly offered him $180K. They were talking, so people just assumed he didn't go to Auburn for free and passed up playing for his former OC, Dan Mullen, when he was at Florida, now at Mississippi State. I thought that was, again, I was asking I'd put some polls out, not like legitimate polls, but put some feelers out to some of these people in their fan bases and see. And that was one, too. Who else? They brought up John Cohen a little bit, leaving your alma mater for the AD, former baseball coach, to go to Auburn was another one a couple of those Mississippi State fans said. But I thought Cam, with that whole situation, I mean, I think about that till this day. It's like, that may be arguably in today's time now. You're talking about how much these quarterbacks are going for a year, anywhere from $800 to $1 million, and they got Cam Newton for $200,000. I mean, that's the biggest steal of all time.
No doubt. Yeah. Sitting here looking at what you listed for Texas, one of the newest members of the Southeastern Conference, and there is no question that most people in Austin, they will point north to Norman, Oklahoma, and the former head coach, Bob Stoops.
Yeah, Stoops had that run on him, in the early 2000s where Oklahoma, and then we're kind of rolling. They won, 4 in a row, looking back on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Bob Stoops. He kind of had until Colt McCoy got there, kind of owned Texas and Mac Brown. Because I was thinking, who else would be the big villain? I don't think it'd be any. I mean, they're upset Chris Beard left. He had basketball rolling, but I don't think they really consider him a villain. It's just kind of what could have been. But I couldn't think of anybody else, honestly.
Who have we missed? Have we missed, did you say Kentucky? And who had you had those?
We had John Calipari. I mean, I just think that, he was a villain when he was even coaching them. I mean, for them, I felt like at times. I'm trying to think, who else? We talked about Ole Miss, the SEC Western a bit. Missouri, that was one that was probably one of my hardest ones, just because, again, who in the league's really kind of developed? And, again, they've only been in the league since 2012. So, I mean, you had their little – I mean, I feel like Beamer and Eli Drinkowitz don't get along, but that's not the whole fan base. Again, the border war, I mean, I just think in general Kansas and Missouri don't like each other, even going back to when Mike Anderson was the head coach at Missouri, and I don't think him and Bill Self really got along too much. So I went with Kansas from Missouri there. Oklahoma went Lincoln Riley.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Y'all think anybody else?
No.
I mean – I know that was recent, but at LSU went Joe Oliva. Some people said Nick Saban. So a lot of LSU fans were saying they thought it was Nick Saban, but also
Oliva's a good one.
Nick Saban won you a national title and kind of got the blueprint going of how to go win in Louisiana. And now every coach you've had since him has won a national championship. So I think that's easy. I'm going to leave handled the Will Wade stuff bad. LSU fans thought he did that poorly. Remember, he was about to fire Les Miles until they carried him off the field in the press conference. He says he's not firing him, and then Tom Herman got a raise off of him. So I'm trying to think who else. I'm looking at the list now. South Carolina, Dabo. Talked to today. I don't think they really hate Dabo, and Beamer's 2-2 against him, but I don't know who else it would be for South Carolina, really. So I went with Dabo, and then we talked about Vanderbilt, Tony Vitello, just because they kind of owned baseball for a bit, and then Tennessee's kind of came out of the past few years. It's really it, though. I think we hit on all of them.
Well, listen, it is a fantastic list, and especially this time of the year, you know it as well as anybody. We are in the talking season, but this was just a fun list. Every SEC team's villain over the last 25 years. You can go pull up the graphic, SEC Unfiltered on Twitter, or Dave Shoemate, SEC, there on Twitter as well. Dave, always appreciate your time. Next time we have you on, we'll kind of start digging into the 2025 season and get your thoughts on the college football season that is upon us. But really appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, appreciate you, fellas. I'll be in y'all's neck of the woods next week for the SEC baseball tournament. But anytime y'all want me to come on, I'm fired up to do it. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks, if you see a crowd gathering at the Hoover Met for autographs, it's probably for Landrum. So just find us and say hello to us, okay?
I was expecting that.
Yep.
All right.
Bring me something to sign. I'll sign it for you, kid.
Yeah.
Thanks.
He's always got his Sharpie ready. He's always got his Sharpie ready.
I like to give
Dave.
back. That's right.
Yeah. Take care, Dave. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
See y'all.
Appreciate it very much. He joined us on the Higginbotham hotline.
About Dobbs Ford. Dobbs Ford Parkway East. Man, Joey and Rachel Goshen, the managing partners there, they do an outstanding job. It's the entire team, and the customer service you're going to get is second to none. It's like when you walk on a lot, if you've never been out there, you're going to walk away, whether you've bought anything, you're going to have new friends. Bottom line, they're just great people. On top of that, they have Alabama's largest showroom selection, and right now, you're going to get Ford employee pricing on select makes and models, 90 days until your first payment. You certainly can't beat that. Also, what they're going to do is show you that Alabama's largest showroom selection of F-150s, Mustangs, Broncos Sports, Escapes, Explorers, the list goes on and on. Go to DobbsFordBirmingham.com. Check out the great selection and inventory. Get by there on Parkway East, Dobbs Ford. Go see and feel the difference. Make sure you tell them Landrum from Jock 94.5 sent you.
Well, we could have some news coming out of Amelia Island, Florida, in regards to the college football playoff. When we come back, we will tell you what it is. It could be an immediate change to the college football playoff and the way it's handled. That's next on Three Man Front. So some things are starting to thaw in regards to the college football playoff. We've kind of been in a stalemate, a lot of kicking the can down the road. I'm about to tell you a story that is breaking out of Amelia Island, Florida. That is where the ACC spring meetings is being held. So a story just came out a few moments ago. And so we will tell you momentarily what is going on and what that could mean as early as this upcoming season.
Well, it's grad season and graduation marks a major milestone, so honor it with a gift that lasts forever. Diamonds Direct offers fine jewelry that symbolizes achievement, pride, and possibility. Whether your grad leans more minimalist or bold, classic or trendy, Diamonds Direct has options to match their unique personality and style. So find a gift that fits every budget and once-in-a-lifetime investments as well. Diamonds Direct offers beautiful quality pieces at every price point. So this graduation season, check out Diamonds Direct.
So I mentioned the ACC spring meetings are about to wrap up down in Florida. You're starting getting some morsels of information in regards to the college football playoffs. CBS Sports is reporting that the college football playoffs power players are nearing consensus to change the seeding process next season to eliminate first-round byes for conference champions. The straight seeding proposal has gained support from the ACC and Big 12 in recent weeks. On Wednesday, ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said for the first time that format may be the right thing for us to consider. College football playoff administrators must approve the proposal, but that could happen within the next month, sources have told CBS Sports. The Big Ten and the SEC openly supported a shift to a straight seeding format during the meeting between those two conferences back in March in New Orleans. So some breaking news there, as it appears that the college football playoff, because the biggest holdouts was obviously the Big 12 and Brett Yormark and Jim Phillips of the ACC. But if Jim Phillips is saying this, then this is happening, which this is a major applause. Stand up and say, about time, get rid of the byes and have the straight seeding.
Well, and we brought it up last year when the games are going on and you had the first round byes, that maybe it was advantageous for the team that had already played. And it was tougher for the team that had to sit at home and kind of watch. I'm guessing that coaches will be in favor of this. But it would be tough though if you do have an injury situation where that extra week could maybe help out. But look, that's going to be with anything. Bring them all on. Let's get all of them started one time.
So for this upcoming season, it's still the 12 teams.
Yeah.
But if this passes next month, basically what you would still have first round byes. But for example, Arizona State would not had a first round bye last year.
Yeah.
Like they would have had to play that first weekend.
Yeah. Boise.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, and that was what everybody wanted from this year, right? Was just straight seeding because we knew no big changes were going to be possible. I think it's a good move.
So this contract ends at the end of this upcoming season. That's why a lot of people are doing the hand wringing. They're trying to come up with a new proposal for 2026. That's why you've heard over the last couple of weeks, moving to 16, the SEC and the Big 10 would get 4 automatic qualifiers. The ACC and the Big 12 would get 2 apiece. So we'll see what happens. I'm just happy to see that there's at least a little bit of movement. It's been a quagmire for quite some time.
Meanwhile, we go back to Judge Claudia Wilkins' courtroom.
Oh, that's the biggest roadblock of all of this, of finally trying to get things. It's like all this stuff's in the pipeline.
Yeah.
But you can't move forward until that is taken care of. Frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Speaking of the ACC meetings, in a meeting with Deloitte officials, now they're a big accounting firm, they were at the ACC spring meetings down in Florida. And the company behind closed doors shared with the ADs and coaches an interesting figure when it comes to the potential NIL clearinghouse. Now, that is one of the aspects to the House settlement, which is they will have a clearinghouse that if Conrad Van Order gets an NIL deal, it would have to go to the clearinghouse. And the clearinghouse would have to okay the dollar amount in which Conrad is being paid. In other words, it has to be market value.
Someone can't just pay me $50 million
just because they
NIL.
love the fact that you fell down a cave.
That's right.
There has to be a legitimate reason for them to give you that money. So according to these Deloitte officials, 70% of the past deals from booster collectives would have been denied.
70%?
70%. Now, this is according to
Wow.
Deloitte. Behind the scenes, 70% of the past deals with booster collectives would have been denied. 90% of the deals from public companies would have been approved. So all this stuff from a private company would not have been. It's good to remember that many of these collectives are indeed front-loading their deals right now, so they're not subject to the clearinghouse come July. So if Conrad decides to walk on at Alabama as a long snapper and they give him an NIL deal that's over the top crazy, they can do that right now. They can overpay because they're not susceptible to what will go into effect in July if the House settlement is concluded, in which the clearinghouse would then become active.
That's why Texas could offer Ryan Williams $205 million, and he turned it down.
Yeah, Nick Kelly sent me that story yesterday, and I was just like going, what in the world?
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook, and it's just one of those things where, like, okay, yeah, this is what you see on Facebook. And then you're like, man, a lot of people are sharing. Like, this is not real.
I got some Bill Belichick news for you coming out of the
Yay.
ACC meetings.
Was Jordan there? Did she get there late?
It appears that he has
He's getting plastic surgery.
He has a new PR.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
Brandon Faber, who is a former Chicago Bulls and Blackhawks PR executive, has now taken over the North Carolina related public relations for Bill Belichick.
Was he ever in a Mr. Peoria pageant?
I don't think so.
Does he have a sugar mama?
Maybe.
Are we doing an opposites thing here?
Has he ever dressed as a merman?
Not sure. Don't care. Jordan Hudson will remain in charge of Belichick's off-the-field, non-North Carolina brand activities.
So that makes sense with his statement yesterday that she has nothing to do with North Carolina football. So she's just peddling his books now, I guess.
Yep.
She's checking on the properties.
Ah.
Checking on the properties, making sure everybody's... Is she renting those properties out? Do we know? Is she just sitting
She
on
better be.
I think she is.
So remember, we were talking a couple weeks ago about how he was investigating the potential of some former PR folks in the NFL. And so Brandon Faber was walking with him like as soon as he came. He is basically, kind of like Jeff Purinton used to be in the old days with Nick Saban, Josh Maxson, who is handling that for Nick Saban now, that Nick Saban's no longer the head coach at Alabama. So you will see Brandon Faber, a former Chicago Bulls and Blackhawks PR executive. He's got his backpack on. It's also interesting, they pointed out that Bill Belichick yesterday in the meetings, he was the only coach that was not wearing a branded shirt from the school that he was there representing. Everybody else was wearing quarter zips with their school, polos with their school. Belichick had his button-down polo on that had no insignia of North Carolina. Just pointing that out. Not that it matters.
Glad I loaded up on that one.
I just love to think that was his response of, hey, Bill, probably don't need to be wearing Navy gear when you're out promoting North Carolina football. And his response was, okay, I'm not going to promote anybody then. And he just got the most the most plain button up in his closet.
The attitude of a 9-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Yep.
I'll show you.
Mm-hmm.
More three-man front on this Wednesday. Coming up at the top of the hour, we will talk to Brett Norsworthy. The Southern gentleman will join the program from Memphis. All that coming up on Three-Man Front. It is 11:34, Jocks 94.5. We were just telling you about it appears that Bill Belichick has got a new PR firm that will be handling his non-University of North Carolina, or excuse me, I should say North Carolina official. Jordan is out. So one of the things that we have talked about on this show has been what's been going on up in Cape Cod. She's a real estate developer, talking about Jordan, his girlfriend. And also, for those that are just tuned in, Landrum, tell the audience what her mother does for a living.
Her mother is a collector of eclectic apparatuses that have enhanced the human experience from past generations.
That was very well said. And you had nothing prepared.
No.
You have nothing written down. You had
I was
nothing
canceling
on your
the tea
phone.
time as you were asking me.
I'm glad you are taking advantage of the showtime.
Yes.
To get your golf
No,
game.
I had to do this. This was time sensitive.
Oh.
But yes, she has and it's a museum that I would not recommend taking your grandmother
the family.
or the family.
Or the family.
Is there a mechanophilia exhibit?
Is there a what?
What is that again?
That was the one we encountered about a year ago with
with the doing naughty things to the car.
the car. Yeah, the machines.
I don't know.
That's
I
not
don't
It seems
know.
like it might be up her alley. Or your
Okay.
alley. Not you, but whoever's listening.
You know, the Bowling Hall of Fame's in St. Louis. He just said alley. That made me think of it.
I've been there.
Yeah, that's
I've
right.
been there.
Right across from.
It used to be right across from Busch Stadium too.
Yeah.
It's where you would go because it had really good air conditioning.
Yep.
Before you'd go to a game in midsummer. In
See, I
St.
did that,
Louis.
Conrad. I went off on the shoulder, and then
Yeah,
we
pulled
got it back out on paved road.
That was good.
So where this museum is located, I was unaware. It's called, what's it called?
Eros.
No, the town.
Oh.
Provincetown? What is it?
Provincetown?
Yeah.
Provincetown.
Provincetown, but it goes by short. It's like Birmingham, we go by Beham. But Provincetown, they go by P-Town.
P-Town.
So, we've been talking about it a lot, and Conrad's been doing a lot of Google searching on that museum and P-Town because he's been thinking about maybe spending some time up in P-Town.
Yes.
So,
Well, Paige has been just begging to go on a vacation, so.
well, something has come from Cape Cod to Conrad.
Oh, no. What?
So we are now going to let Conrad
That's right.
open this box. I have no idea what the contents of the box. I don't know if it's from the museum. I don't know if it's from the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know who it's from.
So this isn't the Ajayi Hall Sacramento State jersey I was looking for a couple days ago?
Possibly not. So we are opening this live on the radio as Conrad Van
This is
Order
great.
is taking his box.
All right.
And whatever it is, you have to use it.
It's a package inside of a box.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So let's see what it is.
All right. What?
What is it? What is it?
It's a P-Town shirt.
Is it
Yes.
Let's go.
Look at that.
Yes.
Show Molly on the camera. Look at that. So Conrad Van Order talks about the sex museum, and he wants to go to P-Town, and so the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce obviously has the Jocks 94.5 app, and they have sent Conrad a shirt.
That's big, Conrad.
That is a great looking shirt.
Take your shipping sticker off.
Is that the shipping sticker? Yeah, put that. All right.
Or no, there's a QR code. You can learn more about P-Town. That's a good looking shirt. What is that just the outline of
Cape Cod, I think.
Cape Cod?
Or is that something else?
That's what I was wondering. Like,
Is that from the museum?
is that
or
from an
that-
exhibit?
Or is that the actual map of Cape Cod? Does it smell nice?
Smells worn.
Does it smell like lotions?
It smells worn?
Yeah.
Like it smells like lobster?
Yeah, the tinge of sweat, maybe some oils like you were
Scented
mentioning.
oils?
Yeah.
Okay.
How about that?
This is awesome.
Look at he is so happy.
I know.
Oh, I wear this all the time. This is great.
Yeah.
Paige probably not going to be super happy about it, but I am.
Probably not. Look at that.
That looks good. It's a good color. It's a good fit on you, too.
Thank
It
you.
looks like a really soft cotton. Nice cotton
nice.
blend.
It's a nice shirt.
That's a good looking shirt.
How about that?
Good
Thank
for
you,
you.
P-Town.
Yeah. So the Cape Cod, I guess that's the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce.
Well, Mike Griffiths, we're going to do a show down there.
Mm-hmm.
Live from the beach.
Yeah, we'll go to P-Town.
And then we'll go to P-Town.
Be fun. And maybe if we can work it out and it's kind of an off week for the new SEC Network show of Damian and Don. Remember, they're traveling around the Southeastern Conference this fall. Maybe we could use their RV and go up to P-Town.
Yeah.
We'll need to ask Damian about that during the break.
Yeah.
And
I'm
there's
sure he'll be
certain
nice.
things we're going to need. I mean, me and you are very particular.
Yes, very much so.
I need to outfit it with some stuff.
Yeah, Mike Griffith is already irritated at the long list of things I have requested for my stay.
And people
in this
think you're
place.
kidding. Pat's not kidding.
More three-man front as Conrad. Need to tune into YouTube and check out his P-Town shirt. That looks good on Conrad. It matches your hat. How about that?
It does.
You look like you're a granimal. Like he's all fitted nicely.
I was ready for this
You
moment.
got socks on?
No, Landrum, I don't. It's warm outside.
When you're in P-Town, nobody needs socks.
That's
No,
right.
not at all. Go barefoot in
you
P-Town.
You just raw foot it.
Do have a lot of calluses on my feet.
Did you just say raw footing it?
Yeah. Just raw foot it.
Let's make sure you said footing. All right, more three-man front. This is Jocks 94.5. You know, it was a very emotional commercial break. I wish the YouTube cameras saw it, but I mean, Conrad came in here and hugged each and every one of us.
He did.
For the T-shirt,
That
and we
was very
said
sweet.
we had nothing to do with it.
No, it's
The Chamber of Commerce, but he really is fired up about his P-Town shirt.
he should be. It's a great cut. It's got a nice feel to it.
Yeah, you were feeling it and smelling it, which was weird. Did
Yeah,
you not
it
find
was.
that weird?
No, I thought
Molly?
it was odd.
Yeah.
I had to cut the cameras for that.
He's like, come here, Conrad. Let me feel that.
Yeah.
me
And
smell
then
it.
while he was over here, I was like, let me smell the sleeve. It smelled fine.
It's okay, Landrum. Some bonds are stronger than others. They have,
Yeah.
they have nothing on
No,
us.
they don't know. No, you know what? And if this is wrong, I don't want to be right.
That's right.
Have
Now,
you
granted,
sent
based on some advice that I was just giving off the text line, maybe we need to cool it a little bit.
have you sent a selfie to Paige?
No, I need to do that. She will.
She said, what is that?
Hey, I got it. Hey, tonight, you're gonna be home from work before she is, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
She's got her MRI tonight. I'm definitely wearing this too.
Hey, have that,
100%.
and then you can tell Pharaoh you gotta get off the couch, and then you're just sprawled out. Have a candle burning when she gets home.
And you got your P-Town shirt
Yep.
on?
Yep. Put a little product in your hair. Take the hat off. Put a little product in your hair. Have a little music going underneath, and be like, "Hey, you want to take a trip to P-Town?"
And to get the full
Handball
effect,
season's over, baby.
and to get the full effect, go through the drive-through at Captain D's.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That
Can
would
I
be-
get the 3-piece whiting, please?
Oh, this is great. This is my new favorite shirt. Thank you, Jordan Hudson's mom.
What's the? But you know what I think about when I think about a fisherman and the gear? What is it? Gordon's, the
Yeah.
frozen
the fisherman, the Gordon
fish sticks and the shrimp that you can get at the store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always think about that guy wearing that.
How many fish sticks do you think you could eat, Conrad, wearing the P-Town shirt?
I don't like fish sticks.
What about
None.
No, you don't like fish sticks?
Nah.
What
I
about
did when I
fried
was a
shrimp?
kid.
Fried shrimp? No, there's the what is it? Poisoning you can get
Yeah.
iodine.
Wait, what?
Nothing. We are constantly thinking about challenges for you. What about hush puppies? How many hush puppies could you eat?
See, I'll just go ahead and tell you the seafood arena, that's not going to be my forte for.
Well, that was
Trying to
obvious in
stuff
the
my
surströmming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Also, anything in a can.
But you eat tuna in a pouch.
I've got a can of
Ugh.
tuna at the house I got from the pig free deal. If I put it in a Ziploc bag, will you eat it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll eat it out of the can.
You will? All right, I'm bringing it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Ugh. Well, you know, owning a home is great, but it can come with its share of headaches. And if you have foundation issues, or if you've noticed some warning signs around your house, and I'm talking about doors that stick, windows that won't close tight, or you see some cracks in your sheetrock, that could lead to a bigger problem with your foundation. So call Alabama Professional Services today, 205-951-9717. APS is going to send an all-star team out to your house. They really know their stuff. They'll inspect everything, explain the problem clearly, and offer solutions that are tailored to your home. No pressure, just honest advice. The number, 205-951-9717, or go to their website at alabamaprofessional.com.
We will open up the text line. Also, your phone calls welcome as well. 205-834-9450. 800-239-WJOX. The Wednesday edition. Golly, it's already hump day. Three-man front continues here on Jocks 94.5.
Let's go to the text line. I know some folks that are texting in.
Easy. You guys thought I was about to go to break.
I did too. Did you not think
No,
so?
I was looking at the time.
All right.
P-Town's got everybody distracted.
Yep. Guys, pump the brakes. I've been to P-Town with work. The city makes
I'm waiting.
San Francisco look like a small southern conservative town. It's fine.
In what way?
Doesn't outline it there.
Talking like from an economic or like demographics?
Is this your new favorite shirt?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Text coming in.
Even if
his
we're
new
now
favorite
finding
shirt.
some things out about P-Town that we did not know before they sent that to you.
Probably, yeah. So we just had somebody calling. Unfortunately, our phone cut out, and so it dropped his call. But he was calling in and letting me know, hey, I hope you're kidding about wearing that shirt because I'm from Massachusetts, and people might get the wrong impression.
Don't.
What does that mean?
No. You wear it proudly.
Just that maybe the style of clothing that I wear would.
You need to wear it with pride.
Yep.
Well, I do think I look fabulous in it. So
If you're not going to wear it, I will wear it.
Okay.
You're going to wear it, though.
we can swap.
You're going to wear it.
We can do weeks. I'll take this week. You do next week.
What is going on
about?
here?
Yeah, we'll do.
Swapping out?
Hmm?
Mm-mm.
I'm trying to share.
Oh.
You don't want me to share my P-Town with you?
No, I was just saying if you're going to back out of this from wearing a shirt that was kindly sent to you
By the Chamber of Commerce of Cape Cod.
yeah,
I'll wear it with pride. I was just trying to share with my friends.
maybe they'll send me one. Hey,
Maybe so.
Joseph,
Miss Simpson.
how does Vegas refrain from people manipulating the prop bet by changing their wardrobe?
Oh, you mean like Bill Belichick would see the prop bet and then
Right.
wear?
There's only so much because we've asked this to folks who've come on the show during the Super Bowl for the prop bets, like national anthem and everything else. And there's only a limit. They put a cap on it. And if there's anything where you see people loading up big money on a certain thing, they'll either shut it down, take it off the board, or only allow a certain amount.
And just think of the LSU Alabama baseball game a few
I was
years
going to
ago.
say you can't pull a Brad Bohannon on a prop bet.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That's
Because all
weird.
of a
We're
sudden-
getting $50K on this SEC baseball game.
All of a sudden, someone from P-Town is laying a lot of money on what Bill Belichick's going to wear during his Friday morning Good Morning America interviews. So, yeah, we might need to pull that off the board.
This is. I grew up in Parrish, Alabama. Isn't that home of the Tornadoes? Parrish Tornadoes high school team. Anyways, it says we always referred to ourselves as P-Town. We even ran with the slogan P-Town, never down. Tim texted into the show. I think this relationship between Paige and Bucky has really changed Conrad's thinking in this whole deal.
If you could see the reaction that Conrad is taking phone calls now off the air, I think people are...
They're concerned.
They're concerned and they're educating him
fine.
on P-Town.
He's fine.
Why did we not know this about P-Town?
He's a
before the
chameleon.
t-shirt?
He's
I
a
didn't know this either.
chameleon.
But you said you went to P-Town.
Yeah, I was 6. We did a New England vacation.
Can you text your brother was with you, right? Your brother's older than you.
Yeah.
Text your brother. Ask him
He
what he has to
remembers.
say about P-Town.
Do you have fried clams?
What did y'all do in P-Town? Just like drive through P-Town?
No, the only thing I remember about Cape Cod is just going to a bunch of lighthouses because that's their thing up there. That's literally all I remember. And I remember like Martha's Vineyard. We went there. I
They have any
was
out-
so young.
This is random. I've never been inside of a lighthouse. Do they have lighthouses that they've outfitted that you can rent for the night and you can stay in? Surely somebody's done that, right? And now people, if you have ever been to P-Town, we want to hear from you. What is Conrad wearing with his P-Town shirt? 205-834-9450, 800-239-WJOX. This one coming in, I got a question in baseball betting. If a batter goes on defense first but gets hurt before they get to the plate, does that void the bet? If they start the game, but does that? I would think that it doesn't. I think that's just really bad luck.
Well, you know, a pitcher, a scheduled, like if you bet on a game,
Yeah.
you're betting the game on those two pitchers that have been announced. And if somebody gets scratched, then you'll get your money back because the bet will be void.
Yeah,
If they
but
change pitchers. But I know he's asking about a batter.
Yeah.
I would assume that the lineups are turned in.
Right.
And the first pitch happens in the game, and what takes place after that?
It's the same in fantasy baseball. you've got a guy that twists his ankle and doesn't get his first plate appearance, you're still charged with having him in your starting lineup.
Yeah.
I think that would hold true. But a good question. Another text coming in from Jason. Oh, beautiful. He
Is
sent
that
us
a picture of P-Town?
of P-Town.
That is pretty. It's very pretty.
It's really nice. Walnuts has called in 800-239-WJOX. Walnuts, welcome in.
Don't do it, gentlemen. I warn you. I've been going to Cape Cod, Massachusetts for 40-plus years of my entire life every summer. Spent about 4 to 6 weeks there every single summer. Now, Molly, I just want to give you a heads up. Your parents probably took you to Providence, Rhode Island, on that New England tour.
Okay.
Not
I'm
Provincetown.
not too sure you went to. Yeah, I don't think you went to P-Town. I just even the locals just outside P-Town know that. I mean, I do like the analogy about San Francisco. It's almost like when you go down to Key West. Have all y'all been down to Duval Street down to Key West?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you know exactly where your limit is, right, on Duval Street. It's very same thing as P-Town. You know where your limits are, unless you play for that baseball team. You might want to check it out. But Landrum, like I was just telling everybody else, is that by all means, I got a house up there. It's on the beach. It's called Wareham, Massachusetts. By all means, you just link me up, and like I said, I'll be happy to let you stay there. You can go to P-Town if you'd like to, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to. Check out.
Landrum's
No, I just want to go to that part of the country. I don't know if my heart's set on going to P-Town.
He's very open-minded.
There's a lot of other places you could recommend, though, right? I wouldn't be scared to go to P-Town.
I didn't say you would
No
be. I
question,
said you're open-minded.
guys. I mean, it's open door. Open door. I'll be, by all means, I got a beautiful place. You can look me up, Paul Strain, or hit me up by all means. I'll be glad to welcome you, brother.
Well, I tell you
This
what,
is
hold
amazing.
on. We're going to
Thank
put you on hold,
Yep.
and Conrad's just going to get some contact
it.
information.
100%.
All right, appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for the call.
Sweet. Dorothy's going to be fired up. I will not request as many things as Pat did for Mike Griffith and his property.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be fun. Maybe we'll dip into P-Town.
Never know.
You never know.
Brett Norsworthy will join us next. This is Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5. It is 12 noon. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on Jocks 94.5. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. Paul Feinbaum Show will be live at the Regions Tradition coming up at 2 o'clock. Listen right here on Jocks 94.5. We are 250 days away from the college football playoff national championship game in Miami, Florida. So what a better way than to celebrate than with our good friend, Brett Norsworthy, WHBQ Radio. You can hear him in the fall on the Ole Miss Radio Network for the Ole Miss Rebels. Brett, hope you're doing well. Our Redbirds have won 9 in a row. What a time to be alive.
It's a great time to be alive. How y'all doing? Glad to be with you, and sure glad to be talking college football. I know today's Wednesday, but I'm ready for Thursday at 12:30.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it as well. A little bit of news came out earlier this morning, Brad, and the main reason we wanted to get you on is just kind of get you an opportunity to kind of express your thoughts on where this college football playoff is going, potential of moving to 16 maybe next year. But I want to concentrate on this year because a story came out about an hour ago that it appears that Jim Phillips and the Big 12 are now warming up to the idea of getting rid of the automatic buys for conference champions as early as this fall. What's your thoughts on that now? Just a straight seeding 1 through 12 bracket.
I'm surprised, very much surprised by that. And heretofore, Pat, if we refer to Jim Phillips, let's please only refer
doctor,
to him
right?
as Jim Phillips, PhD.
PhD, that's right.
That's the lower third Chiron he likes. But I'm surprised they're giving on that, and I'm surprised in the broad that the college football playoff committee is doing this, because we know through the years, whether it was Bill Hancock running it or any definition of the college football playoff, they were slow to do anything that wasn't in that contract they were working under. And right now in college football, the biggest thing college football has to get is protection from the mountain of lawsuits that it's undergoing. That's the biggest threat to college football right now, is just everybody, and Tom Mars wears them out every time he sues. But I'm surprised he agreed to that, and that's what I think should be done. But going forward, you know the plan I've always been for, whether it was 2 or 4 or 8 or 6 bits a dollar. I've always been for 16 at larges or 2 at larges or 4 at larges or 8 at larges. I want everything at large, and we know why the Big 12 and ACC agreed to it, because the Big 10 and the SEC, and finally, Commissioner Sankey finally has a working partner in the current Big 10 commissioner that sees the end game of college football and knows who sets the music. It's the Big 10 and the SEC. I think the ACC and the Big 12 simply recognize we better agree to this going forward and the automatic slotting, or they will leave us behind.
Brett, let's just say you get the call from President Donald Trump and he says, hey, Brett, I have followed your work for years, and I think that you should absolutely be on this Presidential Commission on College Sports along with Nick Saban and others. What are you addressing first and foremost? What are you attacking first and proposing?
I would first say, Mr. President, it's the honor of a lifetime, and I gladly accept. And it's funny you asked me that, Landrum, because I've asked, and you know with Coach Saban, the ultimate alpha, it's not going to be a big committee. It may just be a one-man committee, but I wonder who some of the other people are going to be, like an executive director and the everyday meat and potatoes of it. I think that's important, but I think he will keep it as a small club, and he will be the point man on it, and really applaud Senator Tuberville and his leadership on it. The first thing I would do is we've got to start the season a little bit later, not sooner, as a lot of people are saying. I say later, even if we had to get into January 31st or February 1st or 2nd finish. I think we're asking too much of fans to go out there week 0, week 1, week 2, and you go back and look at all the schedules from yesteryear. And I know it's yesteryear, and I know things change, and I try my best to evolve and change with them. But we used to start generally 2nd, 3rd Saturday in September, and we would still have hot games, but nothing like those bait fests we have now, and for these kind of opponents. Another thing I would do is I would tell the SEC, or I would encourage the SEC, here's my 12-game schedule, 9 league games, no doubt about it. The partnership with the Big Ten, that's your 10th game. Then an FBS team, no more FCS. Then an FBS team from your area. I will use Ole Miss since that's what I'm most familiar with. In a rotation period, play Tulane, play Memphis, play Arkansas State, play UAB, play Troy, and play somebody in the neighborhood. I don't care if they're giving gasoline away. Play somebody from the neighborhood. And then for that 12th game, and I know this is unusual, but that 12th game in the SEC, play somebody else from the SEC you don't see very often, but it doesn't count as a league game.
So based on what you just said, you are 100% in agreement that the SEC should move to 9 games.
100%. And been there, and I'm glad we're kind of now finally being forced to. For a long time, I knew the talking point of you let us decide how many games we play, but also understand we play 8, and then at least 2 of those for most everybody else, they're throwaway games. I think it's insulting to ask your fans to pay the kind of money that they have to pay, the time, the trouble, the expense, and everything that goes into it, the 2-night minimum, all that. And that's if you can get a room. Everything that goes with it, what parking is, for you to go out there and play an FCS opponent. I don't want to name anybody. I don't want to ridicule anybody, but we all know that that's not necessary. And I don't want to listen to this stuff about, well, we're trying to grow college football, and it's a good way for them to make budget. We'll write them a check, but quit playing them because nobody's interested in going and seeing those games. And I know there have been upsets. I was at a Ole Miss Jacksonville State upset. It was a great win for the good people at Jacksonville State. But by and large, most people don't want to go see you play Presbyterian. And I said it the year we played Presbyterian, and I'm a good Presbyterian, so I can say this. Didn't we already know the outcome of the game before it even started with predestination?
Pretty much. There's no question about it. No question about it. All right, so staying on that frame of mind. So 2 years ago, the SEC office, this was leaked out, in which they gave us an idea of the line of thinking they had about your 3 opponents that you would be playing year in and year out. In other words, 3 rivalry games, and everybody else would be on a rotation. So I want to ask you about Ole Miss in particular, because it was reported that the 3 rival games for Ole Miss moving forward would be Arkansas, LSU, and of course, Mississippi State. Do you agree with those 3? And if not, who would be involved in the next cluster of teams in that thought process?
I do agree with those 3 being that, and all 3 of those mean a lot to me. I think it's self-explanatory why they do. But I kind of wish they would just go back to 2 of those, and then you had a more of a rotating basis. And if Ole Miss went to 2, of course it would be State first and LSU second. I know LSU doesn't look at that rivalry quite like we do, and that's not a lot of fun in the rivalry world. It's a little bit when you're in love with the girl and she just likes you. That's not a lot of fun. You kind of want the same temperament both ways. But if we stayed at 3 like that's suitable for me. But I don't want to lose Tennessee, Alabama. I don't want to lose some of these great games. And we all 3 of us can remember when early September, one of the first table setter games of the year always would be Auburn and Tennessee.
Brett Norsworthy joining us here on 3-Man Front. All of our guests join us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Here in just a couple of months, we're going to be in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. And I was curious, Brett, and you always give us great predictions when you join us as we're gearing closer to the college football season. They're at Media Days. But right now, what do you think the buzz is going to be about? What team, what program is the buzz going to surround? And who do you think that the SEC media brethren like ourselves will fall in love with this year?
Well, Andrew, you know us, and include me. We are a pack mentality, and I don't know why, but it does sometimes feel like we in the media, we can only do and talk about one thing at a time. So if it's just one thing and one hot team, I believe a lot of it will go to South Carolina and Lenora Sellers and Coach Beamer. But I've already told y'all, my first I ain't scared upset of the week is going to be opening weekend, not just to cover, but Virginia Tech straight up and big over South Carolina.
Not only beats them, but you're saying big.
Big, because remember how last year started opening day for the Hokies, and I love Coach Pride. I think they will be really primed for South Carolina. In fact, I promise y'all, the first sachet through lightly shaded in pencil, W's and L's, and I mean lightly shaded. I got South Carolina 6-6, and I very few will have that.
Well, it's interesting that you said that because this morning Circa Sports came out with the win totals for SEC teams, and currently South Carolina is at 7.5. So you obviously would take the under. But I wanted to ask you about the teams that had the most wins according to Circa. It was Bama, Georgia, and Texas, all at 9.5. Do you take the over or under on those three teams in regards to their win totals of 9.5?
Over for sure on Bama and Georgia.
Okay.
Would want a little more summertime studying on Texas, and again in lightly shaded pencil. I did not have them. I don't want to be held to it, but I did not have them over the 9. I had them 9-3.
Okay.
I don't want to say anything at all to disparage Arch Manning, but I want to see some laps around the track. I mean, I know he got some last year, but that was just going 3 quarters against a lot of those teams stylistically. But this year now it falls to him. It falls to him opening night. How do they get to that over 9 if they lose in Columbus opening night?
No, that's a great point. And just looking down the list, your Ole Miss Rebels and LSU come in at 8.5 wins, along with Tennessee, and Auburn comes in at 8. Any of those numbers give you heartburn at all between LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, 8.5, Auburn at 8?
Right now, if I had to bet, I'd bet the over on Ole Miss and LSU. I'd bet Auburn's 8.5.
No, Auburn's just 8.
Well, they get. That's set pretty good because I think it's around 8 or 9.
Okay.
I think it'll be white knuckle down the stretch to get there. And opening night on that Friday, they can't go to Waco and stumble on the Brazos against the Bears. I don't think they will. And I think Hugh Freeze will have a big year, and it will set up for, I think, a classic Iron Bowl. But I don't think Tennessee can get over that this year. They had a really good year last year. I thought it was coming last year, but I don't think they get over it this year. Their schedule is tougher. Their road games are tougher this year.
Are you buying Oklahoma and all the confidence they have with a new quarterback and a new system?
Not at all. And here's why I mostly don't buy Oklahoma. Landrum is I think Coach Venables is a great defensive coach, but like a lot of defensive first coaches, all he knows about offense is how to stop one. And I know I shouldn't. I can't get that bowl game against Navy out of my head.
Cool. I think a lot of people probably feel the exact same way.
Right now, 6.5 is their projected, according to one
that's
side.
Really good. Vegas knows what they're doing. But Vegas, they don't do this for kicks. They really take it serious, and they have like people from MIT and MBAs, and if you don't produce, you're out the next day.
All right, so I got to ask you, the Ole Miss baseball program, some frustrated folks over the last couple years, but they're a top 25 team. They will be in Hoover next week. What's the general feeling about the Rebels as they get ready for some postseason baseball?
I think some are a little bit aggravated, not a win or two more. There were 2 weeknight non-conference games that everybody would like to have back down at Mobile against South Alabama, against the Jags, and at home against Little Rock. Those 2 losses really, really rankled some people. And then some SEC series, maybe get one back against South Carolina instead of dropping 2 out of 3. The Sunday loss to Arkansas was really aggravating, maybe even Tennessee. But I think all in all, Mike Bianco's done a really good job. It's gotten a little too noisy for a national champion coach. I don't think they're great. I think they're good. He's getting most of what you can get out of a team out of it. Now, I know the naysayers would say, we'll get better players and ask to get more. I think all a coach can do is wring that rag that you get every drop out of it. I think he has with this team, and they're looking forward to going to Hoover next week and probably need to win, need to beat Auburn, which would be really difficult this weekend in Oxford, and then get 1 or 2 in Hoover, and that'll help the resume. I know y'all got a busy week next week on and off the air.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you get plenty of strokes from Ty Richardson.
There's no doubt about that.
Is he a scratch golfer?
Yeah. Are we headed for do we need to leave our wallets in the car? Is that what you're telling us?
No, he's not. He's young and his enthusiasm of playing, and I love it when I see people with golf fever, because I can remember we would play Thanksgiving morning. In fact, one morning I played on Thanksgiving morning, and my mother, when I got to lunch, she said, "That's the last time we're doing this." Because I showed up at Thanksgiving, maybe a little too excited about seeing everybody else in the family. But I love to see a young golfer really bitten by the bug, and Ty is. He either wants to do radio or play golf every waking moment.
Well, we're going to try to oblige him when he's here next week.
He's going to have the patient veterans. We'll lure him into a bet that he can't refuse.
Yes.
Well, I told him, I promise you, I texted him, I said, you playing with some good ones.
Well, we appreciate that.
Thanks,
Brett, it is always a pleasure. We are just days away from SEC Media Days. We'll be hanging out in Atlanta, and then we'll, of course, be having you on weekly here during the college football season. Always a pleasure, my friend. Have a great show this afternoon.
Thank y'all so much for having me. Really appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Appreciate it very much. That is Brett Norsworthy, WHBQ Radio. You can hear him on the Ole Miss Radio Network.
Man, that makes me want to be in football season.
Yes, very much
Just
so.
Brett.
Great stuff from Brett.
With college football on this show.
Courtesy GMC, that is synonymous with great deals when it comes to brand new GMCs in Trussville off of exit 32 I-459. I've been telling you for quite some time now, you need to go to courtesybirmingham.com. That's their website, and you can take a look at all their great deals that they have, or you can go in person and you can witness the 9 acres of inventory that they have available for you. Folks all over this country are taking advantage of Courtesy GMC. They deliver cars recently to Anniston, Gadsden, Rainbow City, Hoover, Vestavia, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, Huntsville, and Coleman. Folks are looking for a great deal, and you don't have to look very far because it's right there in Trussville at Courtesy GMC. Stop by and give Courtesy GMC a chance to show you what makes a local-owned store in Trussville the #1 choice for GMC vehicles in the Southeast, not only in Birmingham, but the Southeast. Josh Gargis, Drew Lally, they're ahead of that fantastic team. Richard Gullidge, Robert Doremus, Larry Forte, Brian Sivley, Tommy Rowan, all those folks, they are ready to serve you this afternoon. Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Best deals you're going to find on a pre-owned car and also a brand new GMC. Go by and see them. Visit them online at courtesybirmingham.com.
More college football potential playoff information and discussion that we will pass along to you. Also, the text line is open, 205-834-9450. We continue here. 3-man front, Jocks, 94.5.
Always appreciate Brett Norsworthy joining us. Always one of our favorite guests on the show. And based on the text line and the text messages I get, that is a reciprocal feeling with our listeners, and we appreciate that very much. 250 days away from the college football national championship game.
Woo!
We've crossed the Rubicon, my friend.
Rubicon has been crossed.
We are very close.
Yes.
To the beginning of the college football season.
Yeah, start breaking out your game day gear. You know, maybe sample some new recipes for your tailgate. That's what we do. Because when we get to season, the hay's in the barn.
Very much so.
You got to do it now.
We are in the midst of talking season. It's what Coach Steve Spurrier used to talk about all the time. It's that time that everybody starts propping their teams up, start talking about the good things they're doing, the bad things that are in the rearview mirror. This morning, Hugh Freeze was at the Regions Tradition, and speaking about his quarterback room, he's feeling really good about what he has down on the Plains.
I won't, and I said this somewhere here recently, Jackson is the number one. Do I want him to be pushed by Deuce and Ashton every single day? Absolutely. I honestly think we have one of the better quarterback rooms in the SEC. Now, we haven't proven it yet, but I think you stack those three guys in there, I think you got an argument that you got three pretty good dudes. But, you know, do I want Jackson feeling like it's his and him getting that confidence and swagger? Yes. Do I want him looking over his shoulder thinking, dang, Deuce and Ashton had two really good practices today? Yes, I want both.
For sure, he is feeling really good about that quarterback room and trying to push each other.
Did you sense a little more confidence in his tone when talking about his quarterbacks as opposed to the last 2 years?
There is no question.
Okay. That wasn't just me.
I don't think you would have ever heard him saying, yeah, I think we have one of the better quarterback rooms in the SEC.
No way.
No, he's self-aware. He knew what he had to work with.
And now that he says that, yeah, probably so. Where are you going to have, well, and I know that Deuce Knight doesn't have experience, but
he's got as bright a future as any other freshman in college football. You got a guy that played in the ACC last year, and you got a guy that played in the SEC last year as a starter. I mean, that's
there's a lot of quarterback rooms in college football. I can't say that.
I was just thinking back to the way that would have sounded if Brian Harsin was asked the question about a quarterback.
Well,
room.
first of all, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. It'd be go on for another 5 minutes.
That is good.
Am I right?
I was telling Pat the other day, I was like, we can complain about certain coaches and not getting a lot for them or getting too much from them, but I will not miss the Brian Harsin press conferences. Those were like pulling teeth.
I mean, seriously, you would get two questions, maybe?
Maybe.
He was the constant filibuster, man.
And a lot of it was the program wasn't in good shape, and I don't think he wanted to answer a lot of questions about what was going on.
The thing that I do miss is the rumors that we would get surrounding his personal life or those affiliated with him off the air.
It was very apparent early on that there were plenty of people that had buyer's remorse with Brian Harsin.
A lot of people that didn't want him in the first place.
Correct. Well, Hugh Freeze was at the Regions Tradition. So was Nick Saban. And he was asked about President Trump's and his presidential commission on college sports.
To be honest with you, I don't really know much about this commission. I don't really know what this commission would do. You know, I think we know what needs to be done. I just think we've got to figure out who's got the will to do it. And, you know, I learned one thing about coaching for all these years that, you know, when you get into a subject like this that's very complex, it's probably good not to talk about it off the cuff. So, you know, I'll find out more about it. And if there's something that I can do to, you know, help college football be better, I'm always going to be committed to do that.
That was Nick Saban talking about the presidential commission. He was also asked about, is college football sick? Does it need some help?
Not really. I mean, I think that there's always things that we could do to improve it. And, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there that are concerned about the direction that we're headed in. But I also know there's a lot of good people out there that can do the type of things you need to do to get it moving in the right direction.
All right. He also was asked about year 2 for Kalen DeBoer.
I don't really have an expectation. I know those guys are working hard to do the best they can, and there was a difficult transition with a number of players that moved, new system, new people. Players in the organization had to make adjustments. So I would say that everybody's probably a lot more settled in this year, and I hope they do extremely well.
Wouldn't expect him to say anything different.
No.
But it is kind of funny to hear him have to talk about, it was a really difficult transition for him. Well, why was that, Coach?
And a lot of people leave, including Caleb Downs.
Mm-hmm.
On the first comment about the presidential commission, when he said, I think we all know what needs to be done, I wish he would have said it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people have thrown their hands up in the air and goes, well, there's a lot that needs to get done.
He was just there to play golf today.
What would you ask for? I would. I would. Yes, President Trump, it's an honor. These are a couple of requests that I have if I'm going to serve on this commission. When we go meet, it's only Air Force One if you're on it, but I want to fly on the plane.
Oh, you want to fly on Air Force One?
Yeah, but it's only Air Force One if the president's on it. But I want the plane that does become Air Force One. That didn't he just get a new? Wasn't there a gift?
That's
Gifted
being
plane
debated right now.
Okay.
I think Qatar had given him a.
Well, if that's in the works, I want to ride on that.
Like the country gifted him an aircraft?
A Boeing 747?
They call it the Palace in the Sky.
Mm-hmm. Looks really sharp.
Okay.
Conrad, it would be fine for us.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd enjoy it.
That sounds nice.
I would like a blazer. I don't like the U.S. Olympic team has.
Okay. I think Ralph Lauren probably could.
Embroidered.
Yeah.
Anything else, Conrad, you can think of that Saban should ask for?
See, I would want something like, what's really an Area 51? Like give me something, sweeten the pot a little bit. Like, all right, I'm going to tell you all the dirty news about college football and the underlyings of that. I want
the unredacted.
You got aliens down there.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. You get one question. What is your one conspiracy in American history? Ask me the question. I'll give you the honest answer. That would be my request.
What was behind both Kennedy assassinations? Who was it?
Boom.
Well, I mean,
I guess all that stuff just came out.
But a lot of that has been declassified.
Yeah. But some stuff has not been released that is in those originals.
Yeah.
I want all of it.
I would also want private transportation, kind of like what you were saying. But hey, I mean, if I'm going to be over this commission on college athletics, I should be able to attend any college athletic event that I want and be able to take it in for myself for research purposes, right? So you get like a private jet, you can go to any college football game you want.
And when they declassify this stuff, they're only declassifying the stuff that they want to declassify because apparently there's some incriminating evidence where there were state-sponsored stuff that was going on. And yeah, a lot there.
We will continue the Wednesday edition of Three Man Front, 1-800-239-WJOX. If you're watching us on YouTube, you are seeing the sporty new P-Town t-shirt that Conrad has been wearing now for the last 45 minutes. I got a feeling he will never take it off. That's next. Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5.
12:33, 3-man front on Wednesday. Landrum, Pat, Conrad, Molly. New shirt. That's what Conrad's rocking right now. All those of you watching on Jocks TV on YouTube, got the P-Town shirt representing.
It's the best town in the country, Landrum. What else can I say? I've never been there before. Getting some conflicting reports from many of our listeners. Surprisingly, we have a lot of listeners that have been to P-Town before, or at least I guess have people that are relatives or friends that have visited. I was kind of surprised by that, but no, I'm rocking my nice P-Town tourism shirt, and it's quite comfortable. It's not as nice as your shirt, Landrum, but I'm trying to wear mine with pride. Yours is quite nice as well.
Yes. This is the Scripted A shirt that our buddy Patrick Isbell at 18 South. Pat wore his St. Louis Cardinals. I was going to wait until the affiliate day at the Braves game, June the 1st, but last night when the Braves finally got to 500, I said, why not? It could be the last time that we see 500. I hope it's not. I hope we're above 500. Braves and Nationals, by the way, back at it tonight, 6 o'clock. You can hear the game right here on Jocks 94.5. We do have day baseball going on, and Pat's Cardinals, winners of 9 straight, taking on the Phillies because they had weather yesterday. And top of the 3rd inning, no score between the Redbirds and the Fighting Phils. Bottom of the 5th inning, Minnesota leading Baltimore. Twins up 4-3 in that one. Brewers over Wimp Sanderson's Cleveland Indians. 1-0 top of the 2nd there. And you've got more baseball this afternoon. So that's a fun day if you like Major League Baseball.
How about this? So we're in mid-May, and today, if both games are played, the Cardinals would have played 4 doubleheaders already this year.
Wow.
Because of rainouts. 4.
So the Cardinals' last loss, was that to the Braves?
No, we lost to the Mets.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
We didn't sweep the Mets.
You handled your business, though.
But we had a doubleheader. We swept the Mets in a doubleheader. It kind of got us going in the right direction.
I'm looking at some fascinating facts back to P-Town. Some fun facts. Provincetown boasts over 30 miles of beaches, Conrad.
I do like long walks.
It's part of the Cape Cod National Seashore. And in 2016, Travel and Leisure Magazine named it America's Best Beach Town. It's also known for its art, culture, nightlife, and great restaurants.
That checks out.
Originally, it was a Portuguese whaling and fishing community in the mid-18th century.
Okay.
Yep.
Very interesting.
Ooh. Between April and October, the waters off of Cape Cod are perfect for spotting. I almost said hunting. Spotting humpback whales.
I hear those are nice.
So a lot of other stuff. I'll send you the link.
A lot of other stuff.
Mm-hmm. You can.
What's the nightlife
P-Town
like there?
It looks very active.
Pretty robust.
Yeah.
A lot of options.
I think so. Mm-hmm. It's not a dead scene from what I've seen.
I'm glad to know it's a very lively town. That's good.
P-Town.
It's good for the economy.
P-Town stands for Party Town. Maybe.
Is that what it stands for?
I think.
There are just so many options for what it could stand for.
Mm-hmm. A lot of different options for the letter P. But Province Town is what it.
Correct.
Yeah. Can't wait for you to go.
So earlier
I thought we were all
today,
going.
Now that you can tell me about it.
We'll bring you back a coffee mug.
Yeah. So earlier today, CBS announced that Week 13, Thanksgiving Day at 2:30, will be the Chiefs at Cowboys. It's a nice matchup.
It is. The ESPN is also, did you see they're doing a mini series, a documentary series on the Kansas City Chiefs and their current dynasty.
Yep.
So we got Cowgirls and Chefs.
Yes.
Big day for chefs.
That is the CBS game at 2:30. The full schedule will be released later tonight across the different platforms that are partners with the NFL. So you'll get the full scope of everything that has been discussed. You heard Brian Edwards in hour number 1 was already giving us some future odds for especially these over the seas games where you have Dublin, 3 games in London, got a game in Berlin, Madrid, Brazil, this is the largest international set of games that the NFL has ever played. And I got a feeling this is just the beginning.
Well, and you can kind of see, I guess the Vikings are kind of the guinea pig because they're going to play back-to-back international games this year. And so I guess depending on how they like that or dislike that.
Because we've seen the Jags do it
too.
because the Jags and their relationship with London, that has not been a problem for them. But now having a different team besides the Jags have to do that.
How much new revenue do you think? What kind of impact does it have economically for the Shield, just having this extensive of a schedule?
Well,
I've got to think that
it allows them to sell their international rights to these individual countries that maybe typically. Now, I know in England, Sky Sports is the big network that airs their NFL broadcasts. And so, over here, obviously, we're separated by Fox, CBS, NBC, Prime, Netflix, whatever. But I think overseas that they sell to one particular broadcaster for that. And then at that point in time, they disseminate it like on Sky Sports in England and in Ireland. And then obviously in Germany, they were able to go out and sell a whole different package for that game and for the other games of drawing NFL interest.
Not only that, but merchandise. It's hard for us here in this country, I know, because we have everything at our disposal pretty much when it comes to mainstream sports. But if it was a Manchester United or somebody was going to come and play a big match against whoever, I don't know, Conrad could probably help me out here. But if they were coming to Protective Stadium and it was a sellout and it was a hard ticket, I would buy gear and choose a side.
Mm-hmm.
Have to think that the NFL will be selling a lot of gear. Not that they don't already, but the thing that I take away from those international games when we're watching them a lot of times at 9:00 on a Sunday morning before we go to church is that everybody's got gear on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder what that's like for them, like in terms of how, I'd be curious, are there a lot of Jaguars fans over there, for example, because that's who they've gotten the most? Just like, how do they pick who their favorite teams are? I guess it's probably not all that dissimilar to people here, right? If you don't want to be a Falcons or Saints fan because of the location, you go and just pick a random team, I guess. But I'd just be interested. Are there a lot of Chiefs fans internationally? Because they've obviously been the big name the last 5 or 6 years. What about the Cowboys? Do they reign supreme? I'd be very interested to know like what the fan bases look like internationally speaking and who has the most, who has the least, things like that. I can't imagine there's a ton of international Cleveland Browns fans, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's a lot of Shedeur fans out there.
You might see that a little bit different coming up.
Well, the Yankees and the Red Sox played over at, was it Wembley?
Yeah, and the Cardinals and Cubs also played there.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. But you have a lot of Americans that
go over there,
end up going to the game.
Yes.
Because I actually had a friend that was going to London and it offered me an opportunity to go too. And we would go to the Cardinal Cubs game.
Were they going over there just for the game?
They were going to go there for something else, but it happened to coincide with the time that they were going. And I did not go.
That would have been really cool.
That would have been cool. I'd love to see. Never been to London and to go
Nor have I.
Watch the Cardinals and Cubs.
Yeah, it doesn't get better.
That would have been fantastic. They split, by the way. They played 2 games. So,
who got the win?
Believe it or not, I think Wainwright got it for the Cardinals.
I know you'd know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was it Michaelis pitching game 2?
Probably. 205-337-4018. Remember that number. You need to put it in your phone right now. That's to Golston Tree Service, operated by a certified arborist, and they're ready to help you today. They have been all over Metro Birmingham over the last couple of weeks because these heavy storms have caused a lot of damage. Of course, the soil has been oversaturated with water, which means trees are going to start falling when you get heavy winds. So call Golston. They have the 24-hour emergency storm service at 205-337-4018. But more importantly, the certified arborist can come to your house and give you a free assessment, and they can tell you what's going on your property. If a tree needs cutting or trimmed back so you won't have the problems or limbs on your roof or your car in the driveway, they're going to give you an honest assessment of the potential of that happening, and they're going to give you a solution to that. Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4018. No job is too small or too big for Golston Tree Service. So give them a call, a great sponsor here of Three Man Front. We appreciate them greatly. Call them for all your tree service needs. More Three Man Front on this Wednesday. This is Jocks 94.5.
.1247 three-man front. Been a loaded up show. Skip Holtz, head coach of the Birmingham Stallions, getting ready to take on the Battlehawks of St. Louis on the road this weekend. Coming up at 1:30. Already, we've been joined by our good friend, the Southern gentleman, Brett Norsworthy, Dave Shoemate. A fun conversation with Dave in the 11 o'clock hour, and also our Vegas insider, Brian Edwards. Any of that you missed, any portion of the show each and every day, you can find it there at the Three Man Front Podcast at JocksFM.com.
Also, some breaking news out of the NFL. Derrick Henry and the Baltimore Ravens have reached an agreement today on a 2-year, $30 million extension That includes a $25 million fully guaranteed over the next 2 seasons.
They don't hand those out to running backs.
Thank you, Saquon Barkley. People started to finally realize that it pays to have a good running back. It's good for Derrick Henry.
Man, he has been great.
It is the largest deal in the history of the NFL for a running back over 30 years old.
That's awesome.
As it should be. He's one of the best to ever do it.
Yep.
So big time there. So
I will just say, for me personally, I was glad that he went to Baltimore because I love Derrick Henry, and I know it was cool to have him in Tennessee. It's nice to see him have,
I was
play for
worried.
a real contender.
I was a little bit worried about how they were going to utilize him for
Well,
selfish reasons.
Yes. And it turns out that they decided they were going to give him the ball
You know what?
a lot.
Give him the ball a lot, because the first few games of the season, it was like, no, let's just kind of know our offense isn't going to change. And then, yeah, we definitely need that guy running the ball.
Yep.
A lot.
So yesterday afternoon, I was following the ACC meetings in Amelia Island, and all of a sudden, all these people started saying that Mario Cristobal was down the hallway yelling. Like he was on the phone, but he was yelling jubilantly. I mean, he was not like cussing somebody out. He was extremely happy. And Conrad, for those that missed it, it was a big time commitment yesterday afternoon for the Miami Hurricanes.
That is correct, Pat. So we have some audio that we'll share with you here in a moment. But yeah, so if you missed it, according to On3 Sports, their number 1 overall recruit for the 2026 class is Jackson Cantwell. He's an offensive tackle. He committed yesterday to Miami over Georgia, Ohio State, and Oregon. So going back a couple of days, the belief was that he was trending more towards Georgia. Then you had a lot of recruiting experts that came out and said, hey, keep an eye on Miami, keep an eye on Miami. And lo and behold, he ends up at Miami. Reportedly, his NIL is starting at $2.5 million per year.
That's just a starting point.
As an offensive lineman. Reportedly, Georgia was at about half of that. Not sure about the other schools. But so anyways, essentially everyone started jumping on the train of, so you chose Miami for the money, right? If they're offering you $2.5 million, why wouldn't you go and take them up on their offer? So he wasn't a big fan of that narrative that was going around on social media, thinking that people thought it was just a money grab.
No.
So at his commitment ceremony yesterday, he was interviewed by someone with Dog Nation, who is employer of our good friend Mike Griffith. And this is what he had to say. You'll have the question first, and then Jackson Cantwell's answer about if money is the reason he decided to go to Miami.
For the schools that didn't win your services today, they'll throw money in there. They'll say this school got money whipped. When I've spoken to you, you said all you wanted your representation to do was to make things equal. What was the choice? Was there one bid that was higher than the other, or like what do you feel comfortable talking about maybe giving your response on your side of this thing is that money ruled the day here?
Well, I think my response to it is it's not the same narrative people like Pete Nakos are pushing right now. I mean, I think there's just a false narrative that's why I'm choosing. And I think that, I think relationships won out with Miami. That was kind of what did it for me. I mean, they spent the most time with me. They put the most effort into recruiting me. I mean, I've got a lot of skin in the game with all these schools as far as like getting represented by Drew and making sure that I'm going to be fairly compensated. And I think every school has done a good job with that and being accommodating with that. And I think that anyone who'd say otherwise about how I've done my recruitment has been just misled.
Man, Pete Nakos has become enemy number 1 to a lot of different people.
Glad he just re-upped his deal.
Yeah. And I understand that his boss, Shannon Terry, was very quick on social media to defend Pete like he did after Nico's dad, Nick, took umbrage to some of the things that Pete Nakos reported.
Yeah, that would be correct. So we have, let's see, he has, when Pete Nakos is putting in a prediction, he is a business reporter. This is not recruiting from 2005 anymore. He also added simply, Pete Nakos is a truth seeker. So backing up his guy there that, and again, based on the reports that we had from outside of On3 is where you got the reports about the dollar amounts for Cantwell. If you like Miami, that's great. But I mean, is anyone going to blame an 18-year-old kid that says, hey, yeah, I really was considering all these schools. And at the end of the day, I liked them all equally. And Miami was going to offer me a lot more money.
There's nothing.
I chose
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with
honest.
that. And listen, and I brought this up earlier. based on behind the scenes information that was being reported yesterday at the ACC meetings, that according to officials at Deloitte, they say that 70% of the past deals from booster collectives would have been denied by this upcoming brand new NIL clearinghouse. So there's no question in my mind that this guy right here would not be getting $2.5 million based on a clearinghouse. That's why these dudes are striking these deals now. I don't think there's any question that Georgia was in the running for him, but Georgia wasn't going to pay him $2.5 million.
And look, if someone's going to offer it to you, I understand right now in the way it works, why would you not take it? But it's crazy to think that, I mean, we could be wrong, but I feel pretty confident in saying this kid right now is making more than Ryan Williams is at Alabama.
Yeah.
No, it's secure your future. I don't know what his background is. I don't know what his financial situation. I can tell you if it was me, I absolutely would weigh things out. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if it was twice as much as the next person, looking out for me, I'm looking out for my family.
No, it's great. You're going to go live in a high rise in Miami. You're going to get a hand-me-down Lamborghini from Carson Beck. You're going to date one of the Cavender twins' cousins.
That's where I was going to go. No.
Oh, you said
one
cousin.
Of the,
I thought you meant actually one of the Cavender twins.
Well, one of them's engaged, so I guess he'll get
the other one.
The one that just broke up with Carson Beck. Okay.
Yep.
I'll be honest, 18 years old, it'd be hard to turn that down. Go live in South Beach, drive a sports car, live in a nice apartment.
Beautiful campus.
Beautiful campus.
Yeah, and you can afford to live down there at $2.5 million.
Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a
You stay up. You be across the hall from Coach O. Oh, Coach O would love that.
Train with him on the beach.
Yeah. Oh no.
Whose wedding was it that he crashed? Was it Sean McVay's?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a great story.
Yeah. Peter Schrager, whose boys was Sean McVay, and he was at this big fancy wedding at this hotel, and apparently Coach O was staying there, and he just decided that he was going to be a part of the festivities. Why not? You're Coach O.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I want to give a shout out to T-Bob Hebert. It was announced this morning that he is leaving Matt Moscona's radio station down in Baton Rouge, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks a lot, Jalen Milroe.
He is heading to Chicago, Illinois. He'll be working with Barstool.
It's a good place for him.
He will fit in perfectly there. He will do a great job. I'm just sad that, well, I could be wrong. Maybe he'll still be at Media Days, but he is one of those people that at Media Days last year, getting to hang out with him and go and do karaoke, he is the life of the party.
And 2 years ago, he was the wingman of one Damian Mitchell.
There you go.
In Nashville.
And does an excellent job on the radio as well. So,
but I'm going to miss those emergency post-game podcasts from the cigar place with Matt Moscona. Those were legendary.
Surely he'll come back. Maybe he'll come back for the Alabama LSU one every year.
And those things were outstanding. Great stuff. One more hour to go. Coach Skip Holtz will join us at 1:30 as the Stallions are in St. Louis this weekend taking on the Battlehawks. We'll do some Pat Ponders coming up next. This is Three Man Front on Jocks 94.5.
Fourth hour of the show, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. Landrum Roberts, Conrad Van Order, Molly Robinson, Pat Smith. Glad you chose to hang out with us today. Not only today, but each and every day. If you've been listening to the show, Brian Edwards, our Vegas insider in the first hour. Dave Shoemate, really, really creative and entertaining list. And it was a good discussion about every SEC school, including Texas and Oklahoma. And over the last 25 years, who you would put as their biggest villain. And Brett Norsworthy, our buddy from Memphis, talking SEC football, college football, the Southern Gentleman. Coming up at 1:30, Skip Holtz talking Stallions and Battlehawks coming up this weekend. All of that, once again, is found at JocksFM.com, the Three-Man Front podcast, or you can go back and you can watch video there at Jocks TV via our friends at YouTube.
Well, if you're ever on Google and you're looking for roofing companies in Central Alabama here in Birmingham, you're going to find that Abide Roofing has a perfect 5-star rating on Google. That's right, 5-0. Perfect. Don't just take my word for it. Check out what your neighbors are saying about Abide Roofing. One happy homeowner raves Abide Roofing did an amazing job from start to finish. Another says they were quick to come out, worked closely with my insurance company to complete my roof replacement. The work was fast, professional, and it looks amazing. And it gets better. They cleaned up everything, no hassle whatsoever. Plus, even after several storms, the new roof is holding up beautifully. That's just some of the things that your neighbors are saying about Abide Roofing. 205-922-7134. That is the number. The website is abideroof.com. Don't wait. Give your home the protection it deserves and get that free roof inspection. That's what they're offering right now. I can speak from experience about Travis Lloyd and his local roofing team. They're absolute pros. They'll handle everything from fixing a shingle or two or a complete brand new roof replacement like they did for me. Efficiency, stress-free, that's Abide Roofing. Call them today, 205-922-7134. That is abideroof.com.
Text line is open, 205-834-9450. Best way for you to interact with us each and every day here on the show. And keep in mind, some of these texts, it might not be something that we just talked about. They are comprised of content throughout the show. And we appreciate it. If you take the time to text it, we're certainly going to take the time to read it. And sometimes they make the air. Going back to Dave Shoemate's list, biggest villain, somebody submitted for Auburn. Former AD Allen Green. Not bad.
Yeah, that would go into the Brian Harsin thing as well.
Yep. JJ, going back to the P-Town shirt, and Conrad getting some love from the Chamber of Commerce there in Massachusetts. Conrad is wearing shorts and flip-flops with his P-Town sweater.
Yes, I am right now. I am absolutely wearing that right now.
No, but that's what you would wear if you went up there.
Yes, and it's also what I'm wearing right now.
Yes. But it's not a sweater.
No, it's not.
We'll get you a sweater.
I had the long sleeve on under it, but I got too toasty.
I feel like maybe you could just take a sweater and tie it.
Oh, no, I'm tying it around my waist.
Yes.
That's how they do it in P-Town, baby.
Yeah. Can you roller skate?
With my hands.
Drake says he would want to know what really happened to Jimmy Hoffa.
That would be a good question.
I guess there's a lot of concrete.
Yes.
But yeah, I too, Drake, would like to.
Swimming with the fishies.
Did you see the movie where Al Pacino played Jimmy Hoffa?
I don't think so. What movie is that?
I'll have to look it up.
The power of the internet. I'll find it.
Yeah.
That sounds good, though. I love Al Pacino, and any kind of role like that would be. That was The Irishman.
The Irishman.
No, I did not, because it's like 4 hours long. Was it good?
Oh, yeah.
I had to watch that.
Yeah, you do. It's such a good movie. I've actually watched it twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Have to check it out.
So the question, WTF is P-Town. What is P-Town? Is it like T-Town?
No, it is not. It is not. I would wager they are actually probably quite different based on what we've learned today.
Now we're getting photos of restaurants and food from those restaurants that Jason, one of our listeners, he's been to P-Town. He already sent us a beautiful picture of the landscape.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, this looks like a whole fried lobster over something delicious. Thank you, man.
So P-Town is right on the tip.
Yeah, just the tip. On the tip of
Cape Cod.
Yep. That's right. Mike in Huntsville says, Meow Town. Thank you, Mike. I had to clean that one up. Brad Chandler. I need a P-Town shirt. Get me one and I'll pay for it. Get his information. You want
to? Gotta sweeten up to Jordan's mama.
I think that's a new side hustle for you. Conrad's P-Town shirts.
Conrad's P-Town shirts? That'd be great.
Yeah, that's perfect for you.
That would be great, yeah.
Yeah. Does it have the little caricature like you have with the Ford and Chevy stickers on the truck?
We can work on that.
Yeah. Going back to the NFL and playing more games overseas. So do we ever get a game? This is Bo and Halable. Hey, Bo. We ever get a game in China, and how much counterfeit apparel will be there? Great questions.
I don't know. There's
Do we
a
ever
lot
get
of it
one
over
into
here
China?
as well. I think it would be a while before we got that one.
You never know.
You never know.
They're backing away from the tariffs for the time being. We can broker something.
That's what we need between us and China. Football. That's what brings us together.
Just got a little breaking news out of the college basketball. No, we can keep this going.
LeBaron Philon's coming back to Alabama.
It's just the opposite.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
He has just told ESPN, I'm all in on the draft. Talking about Alabama, they weren't surprised. They knew it already. Then they asked him, is the door closed on a return? He said, yeah.
We are on to Boogie Fland. Give me Boogie.
And it's interesting because earlier today at the Regions Charity Classic, or was it the Regions Invitational? I keep forgetting.
I heard it as an invitational.
That's what I heard too.
But that was not the original name.
No, it wasn't. It was really originally the Bruno's Invitational.
Was it the Bruno's Invitational?
It was the Bruno's Charity. And then it was Anyways, I was letting you try to finish that thought, but Nate Oates at the Regions
I didn't realize you were inviting me to finish it.
Oates said, we've got 11 guys on the roster right now on scholarship, probably going to fill at least one more, see what happens. Still some decent guys out there. If we went into the season with just 11, I think we'd be fine. But as you saw last year, some injuries happen. You need some depth. We're looking at a couple of guys. We'll see who is pulling their name out of the draft that is still in the portal. There's options like that, end of quote. So that goes with Boogie. Because Boogie said yesterday that he was coming out of the draft, going back to college. Meanwhile, LeBaron Philon just told ESPN he is locked into the NBA draft no matter what happens.
And not saying this will happen, and I couldn't even give you a name of who it would be, but if you remember last year, LeBaron Philon was a very late flip. He was going to be an Auburn player, then he was going to go to Kansas, and then he ultimately ended up at Alabama. So maybe there's the potential for something like that to happen as well. Somebody that we're not thinking of that flips to Alabama and becomes a contributor. But yeah, I would think Boogie Fland would, depending on the asking price, worth a conversation. But Florida seems to be the early favorite on him.
Well said. Jason asks, who's the bigger villain for Bama, Peyton Manning or Philip Fulmer?
I feel like we just missed something. I would go Phil Fulmer still.
Yeah.
That was the entire program. I mean, I understand the Peyton Manning thing, but.
Jimmy says The Irishman. Incredible. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, because if I remember, that was the one where whatever technology to make Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and them look way younger. And people were mad about that or something when the movie came out.
This one rolls in, going way back in Auburn history. Eric Ramsey is the biggest villain. This was done by Dave, though, and it had to include last 25 years. And that would be outside of that window. But, yeah, that's a good one. Eric Ramsey. I'm the only one that didn't get it, I guess.
Well, you're busy.
It's a
I would
video
still like
of,
to glance down.
It's a video of Janai Broom doing the...
Maybe I could commentate.
The vert.
The vert.
Oh.
Looks kind of funny. It just looks for some reason, it looks so odd when they don't get the step before the jump.
Al says Jimmy HoF is in the north end zone of Giant Stadium.
There we go. I bet Tommy DeVito's agent knows. He looks like he would know.
Somebody asking, isn't P-Town what Conrad calls his shower?
Yeah, but it was inspired by the actual
That's little
plays.
P. We're talking about big P-Town.
That's right. Only little P's in the shower.
Will you go home and wash that T-shirt and have it ready for tomorrow?
I'm not washing this.
Ever?
No.
Hey, what was the...
I want to read this so bad, and it's so close, but I can't.
Can you just censor out one word or not? Would that ruin the whole thing?
No.
No. What were you asking, Pat?
What was the new jersey you got for Alabama?
Bray Hubbard?
It's 18, right?
Yeah.
It's the road one.
Yeah, the whites.
The white one. Legend had that on yesterday.
The Bray Hubbard?
He did.
I guess I can share this story now because my wife isn't listening. But yeah, for Christmas, she got me an Alabama Bray Hubbard jersey. Great jersey. Love it. Going to wear it all throughout the season. But when she asked me, she goes, well, they only had 2 jerseys at the store, and I picked 18 for you. I said, okay, well, what was the other one? She said it was number 2, but I don't even know who that is, so I figured you wouldn't want it. I love you, honey.
Dang.
There's some pretty famous 2s in the history of Alabama football. David Palmer.
And the great news is nobody else is going to have it. You're going to stand out.
That's right.
They're going to be like, oh, look, it's his cousin.
It's like, do you not remember me crying on our living room floor after the Georgia game? Okay. Yeah, it was that guy. I love my wife.
That's all right, Paige.
She did a good job. It's still a great jersey.
That was thoughtful.
It was very thoughtful.
Drake said, tell Conrad that Boogie is going to Florida.
Trending that way. Yep. You're right, Drake.
Jason says, get down with P-Town. Get down, get down. Mike, love the joke. It's great. There's just no way I can do it. But thank you for the text and thank you for listening. Conrad, go and read it.
Who's it from?
Mike. 107 is the time that it came in.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We have very creative listeners.
Oh, wow. Zach Manning is now sending us pictures from regions. He's at his first Barons game.
Oh,
look
good for
at
Zach.
that.
Way to go, Zach. I know Zach. Zach's a fine individual, wonderful member of the Trustville community.
Is that a Trustvillian?
Yes.
This is one that I think you could put as a screensaver or...
That looks beautiful. Great shot, Zach. You have a future as a photographer.
Yeah. Find Nelly, take a picture of him and send it to us.
Yes. He'll look like Landrum.
Yeah.
Did you see the link that Eric sent us?
Also, Tommy Phillips 16 on Twitter at Pickleback.
Hey!
What is that he sent us?
He sent us a picture of P-Town. I thought I could have been in the store and museum in P-Town that I stated before, but this is the actual one we went in 3 years ago, and then he sent a picture.
Of the actual store?
Of actual P-Town.
My favorite in this picture is the pilgrim with the bell. You seen that? It's at the top of the picture. Kind of looks like Vandy. It kind of looks like Vandy baseball coach Tim Corbin.
That is a picture. That is a picture.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's just the fact that that's its own section on the website is great.
Thank you for that. Wow.
Sorry if you're curious, just go to the Provincetown website and tab around a little bit. You'll figure it out.
Josh says we need to dispatch Conrad out to PP Creek in Pike County, Ohio, or Poo Poo Trail in King County, Washington.
Are those real places?
Where in the world is Conrad today? And you just be in one of these towns
And
reporting.
Yeah. I like that. PP Creek. That's funny. I have the sense of humor of a 6-year-old, if you haven't noticed.
Well, we all do. Let them keep making fun, Conrad. At least you can say you've never had athlete's feet. JJ sent that in.
I have not. Not yet.
The biggest villain for Bama is Chris Davis because Bama fans hear the "there goes Davis" over and over. Kick 6.
I still think it's whoever painted the sidelines that day. You get a couple inches closer to the field. We don't have that conversation.
And Paul asked the question, who's Boogie?
Boogie Flant from the former Arkansas star.
He was out most of the year. And
Yes,
came back for the tournament.
He was going to go in the draft, got some, I guess, feedback telling him to come back. So he is out of the draft and he is going into the portal. He is not going back to Arkansas.
We'll do some Pat Ponders when we come back. This is the Wednesday edition of 3-Man Front. Skip Holtz coming up at the bottom of the hour. This is Jocks 94.5. It is 120, Jocks 94.5. We'll do some Pat Ponders coming up next. That is always brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trustful.
Well, graduation season is here, and let me tell you about Diamonds Direct because they are your go-to jeweler for life's most meaningful moments. They have exceptional service and quality that stands the test of time. Their team is also committed to building long-term relationships, so they're not just making a sale. They take time to understand your needs now and in the future. Whether you're ready to upgrade your diamond or whatever you want to do, you will get up to 110% off your original purchase towards your new selection. So go check out our friends at Diamonds Direct.
All right, let's do this. 5 questions I come up with each and every day, brought to you by Courtesy GMC.
I want to know what you're thinking. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's time for Pat Ponders.
Don't drive anywhere else. Go to courtesybirmingham.com. That's the website. Courtesy GMC in Trustful off of exit 32 I-459. All right, so Sunday was the 47th anniversary of Braves owner Ted Turner managing the team. That's right. In 1977, after the team had lost its 16th straight game, Turner gave manager Dave Bristol some time off. Didn't fire him, just gave him the day off. So Turner came down to the dugout and managed the team. Now, the Braves lost the game, and the National League then turned around and banned Turner from managing the team ever again. So my question is, what sport do you think you could step in immediately and have success as the head coach or manager?
I think baseball. I think Ted was onto something. Think about it. You got a designated coach for everybody. You're talking to your pitching coach about in-game moves, who you're going to pull out of the pen. I know one thing. We'd be bunting more. That'd be baseball for me.
Yeah, I would go baseball, and I think, I don't know about y'all, but I know for me, and I think y'all are probably in the same boat, you feel like maybe you have a better handle on the moment-to-moment operations of a baseball game and how you would handle those situations. And, I mean, like you're saying, I'm not saying this to discredit managers, but, I mean, you're filling out a lineup card and you're consulting with your other coaches on, hey,
Yeah, you got somebody in the ear of the catcher if he doesn't call the game, telling him, whatever to pitch.
I mean, you got people looking at replay for you, telling you to challenge it or not.
All the analytics on where you're going to position yourself in the field, that's already done. Guys are looking at cards.
I mean, you're telling, and nothing. I think Dave Roberts is a great manager. I think any of us could go in there and manage the Dodgers right now and probably make the postseason because of how good they are.
Think about it. You have a guy that you look back and you go, hey, for a replay.
Yep.
You're not even looking at the replay. Yeah. Major League Baseball. I'm not taking anything away from those guys, but it seems like you have a lot of help.
Agreed.
I don't think I could be a head coach of anything.
Oh, Molly.
I'm not very good at telling people what to do, if I'm being honest. So
I respect the honesty of that answer.
How about a caddy?
No.
I think you should use the 7-iron here. We're on the tee
Yeah,
box.
I don't even know how to use my own club, so.
So Molly was honest.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Pat? Would it be baseball for you?
It would.
I will say, I think, and it would depend on like a particular team, right? For example, and I know they've had some bad coaches, and you could argue about this, but like, if you're the head coach of the Lakers, LeBron's the coach, no discredit to JJ Redick, but like,
I think the NBA
just let him operate.
The NBA head coach is the absolute useless thing that you could possibly have, in my opinion.
You just got to figure out when to burn those timeouts.
Pretty much.
All right, question number 2. Former Florida Gator defensive tackle, 464-pound Desmond Watson, is turning heads at the Bucs minicamp. He says he's shedding weight by not eating while he's driving.
That is such an awesome answer.
Okay.
So it made me ponder, what's your go-to gas station convenience store snack while you're driving?
Such an awesome answer from him.
I'm going to go with beef jerky. Probably those soy wasabi almonds. Diet drink. No, it's changed over the years, but that's what I go to now.
Yeah, beef jerky for me as well. Mine's weird. I'd go beef jerky, sour gummy worms, even though those don't go together at whatsoever. And Mountain Dew.
See, I'll get a Dr. Pepper, and then depending on if I'm in like a salty or a sweet mood, I'll get either a bag of like Fritos or something, like some sort of chip, and then some form of gummy, like a sour gummy worm or gummy bears, or I don't want to eat chocolate because it'll melt.
And tomorrow you're getting the Kool-Aid pickle.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, Molly, for the
No.
show.
Pickles are my least favorite food. I will not be doing that.
There is no I in Molly, unless you spell it that
Well, there
way.
is in Robinson, and I'm not going to be doing that. So
How about that?
I will say, and I never eat these at home, but for some reason at a gas station, I'm always compelled to buy them. It's the Fritos that are like the corkscrew Fritos that are the barbecue ones.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Yeah, those are so
Those
good.
have never interested me. The spirals.
Yeah, they're really good,
They're
but
very good.
I never want them unless I'm at a gas station. I feel like I need to buy them.
Now, if you go to like you guys are going over to Mississippi and you have the good hot bars in almost every single gas station, Kool-Aid pickle, sure, but go Crispito, go chicken on a stick, tater logs. If you want to get exotic, go egg roll.
All right, which one of those, Molly, are you going to go for tomorrow?
none.
You don't do a tater log?
I don't want anything.
What about chicken on a stick?
Maybe that. I don't want my stomach to hurt.
Oh, it's gonna hurt. Yeah, it's
no,
gonna
I
hurt.
can't
after.
do that.
How about a chili cheeseburger, open faced?
Not while I'm in the car.
Yes, in Pat's car.
No.
Pat's car.
Pat's going to be
It
like,
can't be any worse than driving with Landrum Roberts to Nashville, Tennessee, and back.
That chili cheeseburger
Pull off on the side of the road now.
You got-
now. You got to pull off the side of the road.
You
now.
got two
Go.
options, Pat.
Go.
and one of them you were going to hate. And Pat was like, all right, I'm going to make your day.
I told you not to eat the taco bar before we left.
And it's the one meal I ate all week at that event, there.
You went
during
for seconds
lunchtime.
and thirds.
It was really good.
The taco bar is.
It was the seasoned ground beef that got me.
And everybody at the table's looking at me like going, is he riding with you home? And I'm like, yeah.
And I still want to apologize to the patrons and the worker of that MAPCO gas station on the way back. It was not my intention, and I did everything I could.
But that was a nice area we stopped.
That was very nice.
It's not like
No.
I pulled off on the side of the.
No, this was one of this gas station had like ready-made salads.
Yeah. They had a nice wine selection.
They did have a nice wine selection.
It was right across from Target. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Target was right across the street. We should have stopped at the liquor store Molly worked at when she was 14.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you should have.
Yeah.
Probably would have gotten a discount if you said
Yeah.
you knew me.
Yeah.
You don't think she was? Yeah. She probably wasn't.
Hey, we were told this is where all the kids go with the fake IDs. Do y'all?
For somebody
still
like
sell the
Molly,
minors?
you could absolutely trust her to work in that liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
If you put me in there at that age, no, that would last one day.
She just told the world that she can't tell people what to do. So somebody comes in there, I'm getting this, I'm underage. You think she's going to tell them no?
Well, didn't you say
Please don't.
when you knew people that would walk in, wouldn't you just go to the back until they left?
She would hide.
I would
So
hide.
you wouldn't
When her
get anyone in
her
trouble.
teachers would show up after a long day at work.
No, I loved it when my teacher showed up.
How many Crown Royal bags did you collect?
Me?
Yeah.
None.
Did you ever have any?
No.
Those
I mean,
are
my
really
dad
nice.
has them, but not me.
When my granddad retired, he went and he started working at the state store there in town.
Now I will say, Conrad, that only happened one time where it was someone I knew.
Like one of your high school
Yes,
classmates or something.
because this was a nice liquor store.
I've still got boxes like J&B, empty boxes that stored stuff because that's all we used to have because he brought all those boxes home from the state store.
That is today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC and Trustful. Visit their online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com. Coach Skip Holtz, the head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions, joins us next.
133 three-man front here on a Wednesday. It is always a pleasure to talk to the head football coach of the Birmingham Stallions. Coach Skip Holtz joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm great. You know what? You're always doing better. When the ball goes through the uprights, you find a way to win. It just makes everybody's attitude a little bit better that week.
Goodness gracious, Coach. You guys this year, not only the 2 games with the Roughnecks, but you're finding more creative and dramatic ways to win. Have you you've coached a lot of ball in your day. Can you remember one particular team doing this to the amount of games that you've had to this point?
You know, my wife has nicknamed this the Mother's Day Miracle. You know,
that's good.
To come back and do what this team did, being down 25-6, and then coming back and winning it 33-25 was just. I mean, it was a great feat. I wish we would start that fast, but it certainly makes for entertaining football. I'm telling you, if you're there to watch a game, I mean, it was certainly exciting for the people that were able to get there on Sunday morning. But just, you know, I look at this team and it's just. They do what they need to do. You know, I mean, it's like every game is different, and it kind of, I've always said that you play the first half just to give yourself a chance to win in the second half. And I mean, they have really, when they put their mind to it, I think this football team can be really, really good. And I think, you know, obviously with lots been written and a lot's been said about the quarterback situation and the number of people that have been in and out of there, but just trying to create some stability where we can perform at a little bit higher level and a little bit more consistent than we are right now offensively. And so I'm just really proud of this team and what they're able to do and the fight they've got in them, but they stick together. You're down 25-6. If there's ever a time to people to point fingers and start complaining and moaning and groaning, that's the time. And yet the sideline, you heard so much positivity, guys encouraging each other. Hey, let's get this done. We've got a expression, we say, nobody flinch. You know, just don't flinch. I don't care what happens. We're going to find a way to win. And I thought the middle 8 was huge. The final 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half, where we made up a 10-point deficit, which really kind of put you back in the game and made it more attainable. And I thought the players did a really nice job.
All right, so let's go to the halftime. As you mentioned, you got a little momentum before the end of the first half. You go in at halftime, and I know it's always kind of, we love the cliche about, halftime adjustments, this and that. But honestly, you have such a limited amount of time at halftime. But what was your message to your position coaches and to the rest of the team in regards to the way that this team was trending as you guys were overcoming that 25-6 deficit?
Well, we just got to keep banging that rock. We're not going to make up, you know, the deficit we have at halftime. We're not going to make it up in one play. We're not going to make it up in one drive. It's going to be a 60-minute football game. We got 30 more minutes to play it. Every play matters. Every play, just let's focus and win the next play. We just focus and win the next play. I challenge the defense. I said, look, if y'all want to win, we got to get some stops. We can't keep letting them drive the field and control it. If we're going to come back, we got to get off the field as a defense. And wow, were they impressive. They gave up 200 yards in the first half. Second half, they gave up, I think, 58 yards, gave up 19 yards in the fourth quarter. I thought they were unbelievable in the second half. And really, with them being able to get off the field, I think it really gave our offense more opportunities. And then the offense went out and we scored 6 drives in a row. The final 6 drives of the game, we scored points on every one of them, whether it be a touchdown or field goal. And so it was just, the message was, you know, obviously we got to pick it up. We can't do what we continue to do, but let's just win the next play. You know, we went down, we scored right before half. We got a little bit of momentum. Let's take this opening drive and go down and get points. Defense, get off the field. Let's go down and score again. And we just got to keep chipping away at this thing, and let's go compete our tails off here for 30 more minutes.
It was amazing. And Jamar Smith, who Stallions fans know just from the inceptions of the team, but announcing his retirement back in the beginning of March and then coming back. First, if you could maybe relate to us some of the conversations that you had with Jamar leading up to that point that we saw on Sunday.
Yeah, well, let's go back to the beginning when he called me, and it was just, he was just in a place that he was really struggling right now. And it's like, I just don't know that I'm being fair to you, to this team, and to everybody else with who my heart is and with everything I got going on. And so I think right now I'm going to hang up my cleats. Hard decision, emotional for him. Was not an easy decision for him. But then I think, as he got his feet on the ground. And, it's one of those things that all of a sudden when you're not here and everybody else is and you're watching it on TV, you start to like, was that the right decision? You know what? I really want to play. Tried to get hold of him when, we brought in Case Cookus, and then I tried to get hold of him when Matt went down. And I had to move, and he and I played phone tag a little bit. And then finally when we touched, it was the next day, and I had already moved on and brought in Andrew Peasley. And I said, you know what, there's going to be another opportunity. Just make sure you're staying in shape. Keep working out and staying in shape. And I thought he's been doing a great job with that. And so we brought him in, and, I said, look, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the storyline is going to be. Right now, this is Case Cookus' offense, and you're coming back. And if there's an opportunity, you're going to get to play. Just make sure you're ready. And I gave him some reps during the course of the week. And, it's a real testament to him for the ways that even though he had retired, he stayed in shape. He was working with his throwing coach. He was staying active. He was still throwing the ball. And what a great message for everybody. We all want our timing on our time, but God's got his own plan. And you know what? Just make sure you're ready for if you get that opportunity again. And he certainly was. And this is like a movie script. When you talk about Jamar, who won a championship there in Birmingham, decided to step down and then have the opportunity to come back and really got his opportunity at the end of the game. And I, really proud of what Jamar was able to do. And really, I'm really proud of the way Case Cookus is continuing to progress, the way that he has continued to develop, and the job that he did from his first game to his second game to his third game. I thought he played much, much better as he's been getting more and more experience there. So, but just really, really happy for Jamar. He went in there. He's got confidence. He knows this offense. He's very comfortable in it. And he didn't just go out there and run the offense. He went out there and took control over it. His leadership qualities, he's a very confident individual, and I think all those were huge assets for us on last Sunday.
Well, I know last week I was asking you about the defense, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you again this week, because only 14 yards of offense by Houston in the second half, and the offense only ran 43 plays on the afternoon. I would say that was a pretty efficient day for your defense. I know the point total, maybe not what you want it to be, but, man, they really stepped up there in the second half.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic. We gave up a big play touchdown on a run. And, here's the thing. When you go back at halftime, and one of the beauties of what we have is we have video. And so you have these iPads on the sideline where we can watch video. And the mistakes and the big plays we gave up in the first half are just guys doing their job. It's just a guy gets out of a gap. And one of the things that our defense has done a great job of, there's an incredible amount of trust. And everybody is doing their job. Everybody is 111. So many times you get on a defense and they start pressing, and then guys start trying to make a play, and then they get out of their gap and they end up giving up the big play. And I thought Corey Chamberlain did a great job with the defense. It's like, hey, let's all calm down here. We gave up 200 yards in the first half, but we went out in the second half, and it wasn't like we reinvented the wheel and said, okay, we're going to go to this whole new defense. We played the same thing in the second half we did in the first half. We just executed it with a focus and a sense of urgency and a passion and a toughness and a mindset that we weren't going to be denied. And they went out and they executed beautifully. I think some guys are really, obviously, Bradley and they at defensive end has been a huge addition with us losing all of our defensive ends a year ago. Carlos Davis and Perion Winfrey are really making a dent in it from a third down standpoint. But Marvin Wilson and Willie Yarberry, I thought Marvin Wilson played one of his best games. The four linebackers are always active in what they do. We feel like we have four guys there. We're rolling them. We're playing them all. And then in the secondary, those guys, we're playing a lot of zone coverage. We mix up a little bit of man, which you're doing a better job with, but playing a lot of zone coverage, and they're communicating with each other. But right now, I think there's talent on that side of the ball, obviously. But I think what's making them so successful is they're playing so well together as a team, and they're playing unselfish. They understand their role, and they're really doing a nice job with it. In the second half, I think Corey just put his foot down and said, enough's enough. Do your job. That's just get in the gap you're supposed to be in, and let's start playing football.
I
thought they did a great job.
Coach Skip Holtz, Birmingham Stallions, joining us here on Three Man Front and joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I know we ask you about it every week, but there's been a need to ask. I will ask the question this week, maybe leave it more general. What can you tell us about the quarterback position for the Birmingham Stallions this week, Coach?
That is $1 million question. That is $1 million question. Right now, we went out and practiced today. We've got a short week this week, so really we only got one day of practice, and then tomorrow is our polish day, and then we get on the bus and we travel and we play on Saturday with a short week. So we went out today, and for the first time got an opportunity to see Alex Magoo really go out there and work out, who hasn't been with us for the last 6 weeks. And then where's Case Cookus with his arm? Where is Andrew Peasley with his leg? And so really this week, typically I only carry 3 quarterbacks, but I've got 4 quarterbacks on the roster this week because I don't know who's healthy. I mean, that has been the $1 million question. And right now it's almost like, all right, the healthiest guy is going to be number 2. The only healthy guy I got right now is Jamar Smith. And Jamar will start it. Jamar got the reps today as the starter. He's the healthiest quarterback. He's the one right now that I think gives us the best chance to win. But we've got Andrew Peasley took reps today. Magoo took reps today. Case Cookus took reps today. And I'm just trying to find out who the healthiest guy is because everybody's got a little nick right now as they're coming back from the injury. And even though they may be cleared, are they cleared to play? Can they go out there and execute? It's one thing to go out there and throw the ball on air, but can they go out there and can they execute? Can they move in the pocket? Can they see the field? And we're just trying to get those guys as many reps as we can get them right now in a limited time with a short week, which is a challenge.
And you got the Battlehawks coming up this weekend. I'm very familiar with that. Hostile place to play. I'm sure that they will pack it out as they generally do. Anything you're having to do as far as communication and working on with your team?
Yeah, we certainly have to work silent cadence. I don't know what it's going to be like. I would imagine going there, they have had from an attendance standpoint, some of these games, they've drawn 30,000 people. And it's a home field advantage. I mean, they play in the dome, they get very loud, and it's something that I would love to see us build in Birmingham, where we can get that kind of following and that kind of crowd, because it is a huge advantage. And being inside, I don't know, what the atmosphere is going to be like. I would imagine with both of us tied for first place in our divisions, and with us winning the championship last year, we had the opportunity to play them at home last year. We beat them 30-26, and they've got a very talented team. They got a very talented team. They really do a nice job with all the different things that they do, both on offense and defense. Then it's going to be a challenge for us. So we're going to have to, today we work some silent cadence and doing some of that, trying to get a rhythm, which isn't always easy to do when you're trying to get 4 quarterbacks reps, because every quarterback has a little bit of variation of his own cadence, and you'd like to get everybody on the same page. But we're going to work it again tomorrow, and we're going to have to be prepared for it. So if we get out there and there's a communication and the players can't hear, if we get backed up, big third downs, things like that, we may have to utilize that silent cadence, and we just got to keep working it and get better at it.
Got the Stallions and the Battlehawks coming up this weekend, Saturday to be exact, there at the Dome at America Center in St. Louis. And you're going to get that game on Fox there at noon. Coach, we always appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Tell everyone we said hello. Giddy up, and let's go 1-0 this week.
Giddy up. Let's find a way to win one game. That's what we got to do.
Thank you, Coach.
You guys. Always a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for your time. Bye now.
Thank you. Skip Holtz, Stallions, joining us, Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Three-Man Front continues on Jocks 94.5.
150 Jocks 94.5. A reminder coming up at the top of the hour will be the Paul Feinbaum Show live from the Regions Tradition right here on Jocks 94.5.
Prize Picks is a great way to engage in fantasy sports, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money if you just get 2 or more player projections correctly. Prize Picks. Download the app today if you haven't already done so. Fill out your information. Very important that you enter promo code WJOX. When you enter promo code WJOX, once you get the account started, you want to fire in on a couple of these player projections. Your first $5 play, win or lose, Prize Picks is going to immediately kick $50 back to your account. That's right, instantly. Download the app, promo code WJOX. Your first $5 play, win or lose, you're going to get $50 instantly. Here's an example of how it works in real time. Conrad, it's fine. I'm not gonna beat you up last night. Jokic, he had a night. It was 28.5 points.
Way to go, Conrad.
We went less than 28.5 points.
Yeah, you ended up with about 44.
You
Yeah.
went 44.
But if you listen to the day previous with Anthony Edwards
hit
and
on
his
that one.
three-pointers and Donovan Mitchell, we hit on both of those.
I'm not like some people. If I solicit advice, you give me the advice. I'm not going to beat you up.
I appreciate
if it doesn't pan
I
out.
will beat you up.
Well,
Yes.
of course.
That is what Pat does. All right, tonight, Karl Anthony Towns, more or less 19.5 points at Boston.
Ooh, that's an interesting number. I'm going to go more. He's got 20 or more points in 3 straight games against the Celtics. So, yeah, I'll go more for Cat.
All right. 9 points, more or less, Draymond Green. It'd be easier if it was like altercation.
Yeah, I'm gonna go less. We got burned by Westbrook last night, and yeah, Draymond, I'm gonna go less.
All right, we're going less there, and then we're going on Karl Anthony.
More on Karl Anthony Towns.
All right. If both of those are correct that Conrad just suggested, then I'm a winner. You can be a winner too. Prize Picks, great way you can do it all season long, no matter the sport. Download the app today.
Some headlines at this hour very quickly. News coming out of Florida that it appears that Jim Phillips and Brett Yormark both have warmed up to the idea of changing the way the seating is done for this year's college football playoff. This is the final year of the current contract. Remember, last year they expanded the playoff to 12 teams, but if you were a conference champion, you were given an automatic bye depending on your ranking. Well, they're now warming up to the idea of a straight seeding process as early as this upcoming football season. So that is one of the prevailing stories that is happening in college sports as we speak. Don't forget the Braves tonight. They will take on the Nats. They're back to 500. And afternoon baseball, I understand my Cardinals have just taken the lead over the Phillies.
They sure have. I'm trying to see who got the...
Jordan Walker got an RBI single.
It's not my guy. It's not Contreras. Contreras to get it done. That's fine.
What's the score now?
It's 1-0, bottom of the 7th. Phillies coming to the plate.
There you go.
We do see good and we see bad. Conrad generally sees the bad. He likes to pass it along. This is the worst thing that Conrad has seen.
Well, today's story will bring a different meaning to the name P-Town. No, we're not talking about Provincetown, Massachusetts. We are going out to
Parish?
Los Angeles, California.
City of Angels, Los Angeles.
That is right. Where there is currently a situation going on involving an Amazon driver who I guess has gone rogue, or perhaps there were just no local restrooms available, because there is an Amazon driver. This is 2 separate incidents now that have been reported to local news stations there in the Los Angeles area, where people, I'm assuming these Ring doorbell cameras that we've talked about, where they have surveillance footage of their front doorstep, of an Amazon driver on Mother's Day, 2 separate instances, dropping off not only a package on a front doorstep, but also dropping a deuce.
Oh, no.
Yep, that's right. we have a double offender in the Los Angeles area. There were videos submitted by one of the residents that showed a Amazon driver wearing a blue vest and purple shorts walking up to the front porch of their home on Sunday, May the 11th. The video, which was taken in the Woodland Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles, shows the driver descend the stairs as they pulled their shorts up. And the homeowner then went outside and found feces located on their doorstep. Yes. A quote from one of the residents: "My husband went downstairs and was not only greeted by one package, but a second inappropriate, disgusting package, which was essentially human feces and looked to be some urination. You can clearly see the mess that she left." There's a separate video submitted. Yes.
I didn't realize that. I missed that first part of the story.
Wow. It was a female Amazon driver, yes. A later video from the same day at 6:06 a.m. We got an early start on this Sunday morning. A video of a person urinating outside of a person's front gate of their home after dropping off a package. And according to USA Today, Amazon has responded, and as of yesterday, that employee has been fired.
Honey, the candles are delivered. By the way, did you order this? Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. Paul Feinbaum, The Paul Feinbaum Show is next.